Hello there! From behind the yellow line, this is Trammin, episode 270. My name is Kirk, and today I'm joined by my friend, and he keeps moving forward, Freddy.
Ahoy there, everybody. Our Big Thunder topic of the week is Disneyland moves forward.
Don't forward through the intro.
Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard Trammin, a Disneyland podcast. Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding. As a courtesy to other passengers, we ask that there be no eating, drinking, or smoking on board. In just a few moments, we will begin our trip into the Disneyland Resort news and topic of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, this tram is ready to depart. Driver, you are clear.
Welcome back to Trammin, everyone. Happy Wednesday. We are your hosts, Kirk and Freddy. What's up, Freddy?
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming. I know this has been a long time coming.
Yes.
We're going to do this like pre-wedding, but it just got crazy. We're like, let's let the dust settle a little bit. You'll notice throughout the episode, you'll slowly shift and relax on the couch. Corner. Yeah, this because the mic turns this way too.
Oh,
like
okay,
left and
cool,
right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Getting used to the new set. It is really.
I
nice
am still getting used to the new set. I need. It's like I need to wear suspenders or something. My shirt rides up because of this. I hate this couch. Rain.
Be honest.
I was gonna buy a nice couch, and Rain's like $600 is too expensive. I'm like, I don't feel like that's too expensive for a couch of this size too. This is a big couch. So this one was like $300, which is maybe scary cheap for a couch.
Yeah.
I might put like plywood underneath here.
That might help a little bit.
Yeah, Rain's comfy, but the other thing is, this doesn't have the weight limit for 3 people.
Yeah.
So we have to like figure out how to do guests. Maybe the couch won't notice if someone's on my lap. But
it doesn't count that way.
No, it doesn't. So, anyways, let's clean up the dirt from this totally real groundbreaking ceremony with mousekeeping. If this is your first time here, welcome aboard Trammin, a Disneyland podcast where we talk about the Disneyland Resort through and only through our eyes. Listen to full episodes every Wednesday or topic-only uploads on Big Thunder Thursdays. If you enjoy this show, like, subscribe, comment, and review us wherever you can, including Spotify, Podcast, Apple Podcast, and of course, Rain's favorite, YouTube. Head to Trammin.com to write into the show, find our socials, and request access to our Discord. You can find all these links and more on Trammin.com. You can, but you can also go to TikiKingdom.com.
Oh boy,
Rain's clothing brand, and he's got our own Rain Spooner, if you will. He's got his what did he call it? Something birds.
Oh goodness, Chowers, something Chowers, right?
Yeah,
in the shirt.
What? Yeah, Enchanted Showers.
Enchanted Chowers.
So he's got a Tiki Room shirt up. Go support him. There's
Only 77 will be made. So it's limited edition, and he's not going to reprint shirts. So once he's done with one design, it's like, that's it. If you're a fan of Shirt Farm, it's kind of like that. It's like, you got to hit those drops when they happen.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just dealing with some silliness.
Technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, go check that out. Go check out bubblinas.com, BUBBLINAS.com. And what is her Instagram? We talked about some bread last week.
Oh, yeah. That sounded delicious.
Yeah. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it was very delicious. We had the first pepperoni pizza loaf. So let's see. Bubblinas.com. Order some bread. Ryan H. Shout out. First person to use Trammin 10 at her website and order some bread. It's her first shipping order, which is awesome. So Ryan, shout out. If you want some stickers, let me know. And I'll send you what I got for free. Huh. I gotta tell Christine she's got to put her socials on her website because it's. Oh yeah, she's got to do
just
this.
Slightly important.
Yeah, I mean, she did tell me her socials to tell everyone about.
That's good.
And I forgot to do that. So, Bublina's Baked Goods. So check that out. Actually delicious bread. I would I wouldn't spend this much time on it if it wasn't good. I would just do like a can, like, hey, go check out our friend. Really good stuff. I recommend the pizza and the plain sourdough. There are also minis. I haven't tried the minis, but I assume they're also very good. Yeah, check them out. Fresh stuff. So fresh, I already had to freeze it.
Oh, wow.
No preservatives.
Excellent.
I only had to freeze one of them because I ate the other one. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So, let's get in some news. So, got some interesting news, actually. Uh-oh. I just want to check. No, okay. We're not recording at maximum quality.
Oh, that would be, yeah, you know.
We're already at 600 megabytes. And we're at 6 minutes.
Don't shoot me in 8K, please. You know.
No, yeah, we're okay. So, first up, where do we eat? So, Disney Parks blog released 2 where to eat guides for each California park. So, they put together a handy guide to the different types of dining experiences. So, they have one for DCA too. So, I want to check just the format of this, what they're going for. So, right now, it starts with on-the-go snack carts and market stands. So, they tell you where to get some spicy pickles, whole fruits, and then the garlic cheesy pretzel bread.
Yeah, Maurice's Treats.
Yeah, they got some pictures of the places too, so that should help people out. And I wonder if this is just like they know what people are asking for. Yeah. So like let's put this out there because in the write-up it says like there's churros, popcorn, turkey legs, Mickey Mouse shaped pretzels, bottled sodas, but must-try snacks include these things. Whole fruits is probably for those parents we need something healthy.
Yeah.
And
go get a pineapple spear.
Yeah. They got some quick service restaurants. So they're talking about the Fantasyland or Fantasy Fair Fold.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like not in the must tries. It's like in the paragraph.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. And it's also like, hey, while you're waiting for Paint the Night, like go get the snack because it's a late night snack.
And then there's they're just telling you the Star Wars restaurant is called Docking Bay 7, where to find Mexican food. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things like you shouldn't eat there, but people are always looking for it.
Yeah.
And that's the one spot. Refreshment corner. The must tries are the turkey leg, pepperoni pizza flop over, and Dole Whip float. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Table service. They're telling you can get reses 60 days prior, but there's a walk-up list.
Yeah.
So Monte Cristo from Cafe Orleans, Southern Cooking.
Highly recommend that.
Yeah. Southern Cooking from River Bell. Shout out to River and James. That was a quick one. Comfort Foods at Carnation Cafe. And the character dining, as well as some entertainment dining packages and experiences.
Yeah.
So, insider tips is dining discounts, mobile ordering, and bottle fill stations.
Yeah, now that there's more around the park and resort.
Yeah, there are 2 in Toontown.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
There's one near the restrooms, and then there's one in the quiet area that I just found yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know more keep popping up. It's like, oh, look, there's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. They got a same type of deal for DCA. So nothing much in the write-up. They're on the goes. Our Cosmic Cream Orb from Terran Treats.
Never had that.
It's good. Okay. It's a cheesecake.
Oh.
In an orb.
Guess I'll have to try it.
Yeah, it's good. It's just like out of the way. So I wonder if this is like pushing people to go do stuff. Plant-based option at Shawarma Palace. Jack Cookie Num Num. Once again, have you ever seen anyone eat one of those?
Yeah, I've had like 8 of them.
I've had one. Has anyone ever left that area eating one?
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those convenient, I got off the roller coaster, here's a cookie snack if the line's not too long.
I've eaten that in the queue.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that personally, but yeah, I understand that too. If you were waiting the entire length of that,
Yeah, I've waited in like a 30-minute
yeah.
queue and eaten the cookie, and I had I got an almond milk with it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's pleasant.
So I was like,
Yeah.
I had to wait, so it was fine. It worked out.
Perfect.
Quick service. They got burgers and chicken sandwiches. Again, they know what the people want. Smoke Jumpers Grill. Oh, look, Mexican food.
Cocina Cucamonga.
Yeah, although they got to put the quesadilla right there.
Yeah, because that's what everyone's looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Italian favorites with the California twist from Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta. The only reason they wrote Italian favorites is because pizza and pasta is in the name.
Yeah.
For sure. Must try snacks, corn dogs, and chicken drumsticks. They're trying to get rid of the drumsticks. They're trying to get people to go. Table service, don't go to Wine Country. Lamplight Lounge is decent. Interesting development. Boardwalk Dining takes reservations now.
Now it does, yeah. It still is. I've noticed both of them still had waitlisted options on the app. So it's one of those things where, yes, there are going to be reservations. That's going to be the primary way of getting sat there, but they're still going to have walk-up business. So, don't be afraid to still put your name down on those wait lists.
Yeah. And then some signature dining at Carthay Circle and more dining packages.
Got to sell those packages, man.
Yeah.
The other day, walked by, they had the package for the Better Together parade. I was like, that's interesting.
Well, I think Paint the Night has them.
Yeah, it does. But I think more Paint the Night, like that makes sense to me versus like I'm looking at them seeing people with like lunch boxes for a daytime parade and they're sitting in the sun. I was like, that doesn't seem that pleasant.
Yeah. Well, on the note of adding reservations, I think first off, reservations at Boardwalk Dining, whatever, not many places to get reservations at DCA.
Yeah.
And it annoys us, but they're still doing walk-ups. But they want people to be able to say, oh, I got a reservation somewhere.
I have something secured.
Yeah.
I don't have to wander around for an hour looking for an option, especially if you do want something that is sit down. I do wonder if because they're doing reservations, they will open up that menu up there because it's mostly snack options. They really differentiated the menus between the lower part of Lamplight Lounge and that Boardwalk Dining. And I wonder if they're going to come back a little bit closer just because of the reservation-based option.
Do you think that's why they've shrunk the menu downstairs? There's nothing on there anymore.
Yeah.
They used to have the salmon
tighter.
PLT, the Impossible Burger, which I think you could just swap out the patty now. It used to be like a whole like pastrami spiced Impossible Burger. And
Lamplight Lounge is still my favorite restaurant.
Yeah, it's just I'm just mad that they killed that burger. It's still good, but the other one was amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's rough. But the second little thing, they've updated the app to make booking dining reservations easier than ever. That's what they say. But basically, you can view all dates with available reservations for a dining location. So like Open Table and stuff offer this. So you can click a location and it'll show you the dining availability simply for like what's available on a day. Like, are there reservations for this day or not? Not, when you click on it, is it going to say 8:30 p.m.?
Yeah, that's just saving you time. Like, that's just, being
so,
courteous.
but they did say it's for bucket list items. So it's like, you're coming here once in your life. You need Blue Bayou. It says 8:30.
Yeah.
It's open if you want it. And then you can update the time range search for like more specific times. They've kind of been doing that. Maybe they're just kind of rolling this into one article, but there's like this between 6 a.m. and 12 a.m. and you can shrink that down once again, 60 days in advance.
Yeah.
And if you're at Walt Disney World, Disney Resort Hotel at Disney World. Yeah. You can start booking 60 days in advance for your entire length of stay. So does that mean technically 70 days in advance? Like,
yes. So basically, as soon as your length of stay begins, you can book for all those days. And it does give you a 10-night limit. I mean, I don't know how many people are staying over 10 nights, but still it gives you that option to actually grab stuff before it becomes available to the general public.
Yeah. So yeah, they've been putting videos here. Why? I don't know.
Yeah, I think with the Parks blog, because they redirect everything to it, they really are putting some more general information on there. They're putting some more guides that are helpful to new guests who have no previous experience with the Disneyland Resort. I mean, I tell everyone, it's like, it's how much research you do that's going to produce a better time at the parks.
Yeah.
You know, if you just go there with nothing, you know, it's like you're going to struggle. And there are still resources like guest relations on the spot that you can go and ask recommendations from. But to have the Parks blog do a little bit more official posting in that direction is pretty good. As we definitely noted, though, there's a few options on there that are clearly being pushed forward of, hey, these are less popular, or this is just more generic what you're looking for, not necessarily good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the light news, it's also Saturday right now. So just letting you all know. Or a little early, but that's okay.
Yeah, I did want to pull up Scott Gustin's Twitter real quick and just point out a few quick things. Number one, the walls are down for the Tiki Room. So if you want to go inspect the lanai, you're more than welcome to.
I was going to talk some... Inspect what?
The lanai, the little front, the courtyard with the gods.
Oh, is that what they call it?
I'm not sure, but that's what I would call it.
Lanai? Like the island?
Kind of, yeah. But it's supposed to be like the open space that's there. Yeah. So in the end, they raised Tangaroa, the father of all gods and goddesses. So now that they can have his whole, animatronic element where he drops all the little tikis from his limbs, because it used to be right over people's heads, and they used to be able to just touch them, and that was a problem. They kept breaking.
I was gonna say maybe that's why they had to redo it.
Yeah. Well, and last time I went to the Tiki Room, it was really rough. It was in rough shape. You could hear things were creaking and breaking, and you're like, okay, this needs some help. So I hope once it's done that they've done a really good job in terms of preserving the attraction, keeping it going forward, so that way it will stay open for a long time before its next refurbishment. That is supposed to open July 3rd.
So the birds have still flown the coop, but the gods are with us.
Yes, the gods are with us. And that's pretty much it. A few Disney World stuff. Spaceship Earth is going to close for refurbishment. Buzz Lightyear Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is closing for that lengthy refurbishment into next year, where they're adding the actual freeform blasters. If you didn't know, they're actually attached to the vehicles there in Florida, so it's not as fun.
Gross.
Yeah. So again, that, and then Test Track 3.0 officially opened, and looks really good. I did watch a ride through, and really impressed that it has that Epcot 1.0 energy. It really has that whole looking towards the future, world of motion throwback that I think a lot of people were anticipating. That's really good.
Did they do anything outside, or is it just...
So it used to be this ugly looking canopy.
No, that's not what I mean, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it used to, like, the front facade looked terrible, and now it actually has a permanent installation, and you can see the glass that used to be sort of on that front of the building from World of Motion.
It used to be open, didn't it?
Yes, and then it had the sort of pathway. That's another thing that they reintroduced, is the load area was kind of covered, so when you walked in the building, you couldn't see it. You used to be able to see the vehicles leaving the load area when you first walked in the building, so it gave you that, oh, this is what we're going to be riding, and now they opened it up again.
The indoor queue for that kind of really sucked. Last May.
It was bad.
It was just a bunch of like rooms that
design your vehicle.
Yeah. Did they get rid of the designer?
Yep, all gone now. Yeah.
So okay. So my question is the outside portion of the ride
with the launch. Yeah.
Is it still kind of?
It's the same open space. I know everyone is always talking about, man, they should enclose that or do something, and it would just be such an expense to build a new show building. And this is the type of thing where, because you have a sponsor, you have somebody who's like paying for all this stuff, they're going to pay for certain things and not pay for others. They did add a really cool element right before that launch into the outside that if you haven't been spoiled by it, stay spoiler free on that. That's really cool. I can't wait to see that for myself. But again, leaning into that direction of, let's look at the world of the future. What does tomorrow's vehicles look like? That is so original Epcot and so future world that it's surprising to see. And it really has to play with the fact that you have a sponsor. You have somebody who wants to showcase what they're developing, what they're doing. And that's really cool to still see that preserved in Epcot for as long as that exists.
Yeah, I wish there was a slight enclosure or barrier on the track outside, not a show building. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Or even like fake plants or more props, because you're just like, oh, there's like the parking lot for the cast members.
Here's the backstage of Epcot.
I don't even think this is like a, park goers just complain about everything.
Yeah.
Our type of people. It's like, nah, it's a little rough out there. But
yeah, I mean, originally when they opened it, it was a test track. It was the whole idea of it just being a testing facility. So when you end up in an industrial park, it makes sense. And now the way it's moving, it doesn't. And you're right. I mean, it would be nice to even put some type of installation out there, something that added to it. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that happens in 4.0 because at least per the contract, I believe it's like every 10 or 15 years they have to redo the attraction.
Yeah, that was the whole weird thing with Kodak and
Love it.
Figment, and Kodak didn't want to let it go.
Yeah.
Which was, yeah. We still getting Figment?
One day. I feel like it's just they're going to have to put something there. It's the same reason that I mean, you look at what was announced as the Play Pavilion and Wonders of Life. It's like this huge piece of real estate. You have to do something with it. And so the question is timing, and you don't have a sponsor. So where does that money come from? We'll get into that more coming into our Big Thunder topic of the week.
We will, because there's nothing for your right. This here's our Big Thunder topic of the week. Disneyland moves forward. So, Disneyland Forward was announced and then approved some time ago. It's been
a long time.
Yeah, been a long time coming. And it was or is a rezoning project to build on existing land that Disney already owns.
Yeah.
But to change the zoning from whatever it was, which is usually a single use. So either this must be parking, this must be a hotel, this must be a theme park, to hopefully for them be all of those things. Like we can do anything on, conditional approval, of course, with permits and whatever, but we can do anything on the land that we already own. So whether that be theme parks, parking, and hotels, just kind of freely. So this included some awesome concept art that was like, here's a Wakanda, an Avatar, and people were like, Wakanda's coming, and they're like, an artist they were just told some artists like, hey, I'm sure you got ideas, because all these Imagineers is what they see when they close their eyes at night. So it's like, just fill all this in, something that looks like a theme park, because this is where we want to put theme parks, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that is still kind of their vision.
And Disneyland Forward was very clearly a marketing thing, both to the citizens of Anaheim and the city council, basically saying, hey, this is what we could do if you let us use the land properly. And in the past, you look at the previous zoning, which I think was done in the 90s. It was very much strict and set up in the structure because it also gives the city control over how Disney develops. And that was even the announced, was it 4 Diamond Hotel that they were going to build over top the monorail platform. That was an example where Disney wanted to build that over into spaces that were designated for parking and not for hotel. And so that's why that project got canceled, because Disney didn't want to spend that time redeveloping and having that conversation with the city, which could take another several years. And so with Disneyland Forward, this is kind of the next play where it's like, okay, well, if you look at a modern theme park, you look at a modern mixed use space, you're going to have everything there. You're going to have theme park, you're going to have attraction, you're going to have dining, retail. And so they want it to all be zoned that way to give them that freedom.
Yeah. And to kind of have like a Walt Disney World thing where the hotel is just in the park.
Very much so.
And also during that time, some of the tomfoolery from Anaheim. Jeff has some more insider information that he actually brought up on the Avatar episode.
That was that was an
he just spilled the guts, and I didn't even know him at that time. And then, but part of it was Disney wanted to change their plans with that hotel. They moved it a little bit, and Anaheim wanted to flex their muscles because they were trying to be tough on Disney for some weird reason.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't let Disney get away with anything they wanted, but like you got to play nice with your golden goose. But they basically were going to let Disney build it, but I think they were trying to weasel their way out of the tax break.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a true tax break.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pause on occupancy tax, which is just imagine like property tax, but for sleeping there at night.
Yeah.
So, this room is occupied, 15% tax goes to the city. And on every 4 Diamond or some sort of level hotel in Anaheim, they're being built in a certain time frame, they were going to get a 10 or 15 year pause on that. And then it would just go into effect and be great. But it's basically like, you're going to spend the money now. So we'll let you're putting that money into Anaheim. Real construction does actually benefit a city.
Yeah.
And then after that, okay, you're not spending anymore. We get the tax. They canceled that. So Disney said, ha, we had a parking structure planned and we're just not going to build a hotel. But anyways,
yeah,
they're trying to avoid that kind of
thing. And
thing.
at the same time, Measure L was happening. And so the hotel would have straight away obligated Disney to pay its cast members better. And then in the end, they had to anyway, because they lease the parking, or the city leases certain parking back to Disney for like $1 or something like that. There's some type of thing that they were liable for, and now Measure L happened. So to any cast members who worked during that time, we're all getting a little check later on in the year, which is nice. Yeah. But going back to Disneyland Forward, as you mentioned, a lot of the concept art was very vague. It was just a lot of different proposals. And I was one of those people who was like, Wakanda, there it is. And it's cool to imagine what you could do in that space. And it was very much about intention, about this is what we could do. And they were being honest about that because they want everyone to be on board. They want the fans to be excited. They want the city to be excited. They want the residents to be excited about the investment in the city. So by showing off something new, not necessarily a third gate, but look at all this development, it's a way to do that. And until now, that's just been a rezoning. It was officially approved by the city. It went forward. And so now they can develop in those spaces as they so choose, still having to propose stuff to the city and get those permits filed for construction, which we will hear about over time. But they can kind of propose anything they want now, which is great. Kind of leaning in the direction of what actually got announced. We finally got this article from the Parks blog showcasing a grand new entryway to Disneyland on Harbor Boulevard. And for those who have been following along with this is pretty much the Eastern Gateway project that had been announced even prior to Disneyland Forward. And there was a battle with the other residents on Harbor Boulevard about street access and a few other little notes. And so that kind of got sent back to the drawing board and finally got approved. They reworked with the other hotels and businesses on Harbor Boulevard to make something that would work for both Disney and them. And now we're actually seeing the fruits of that. Something that is supposed to start construction really soon, too. So we're going to see a lot of development. We're going to be talking about that throughout this Big Thunder topic, and kind of going through what we even saw in the concept art itself. So Kirk, where do you want to kind of start with this thing?
Okay. So to kind of keep people excited.
Yeah.
There's an Avatar land coming to Hollywoodland.
Yes, coming to Hollywoodland.
Now, something I don't like, apparently just a portion of it, which is crazy. Yeah. But you may be wondering out there, how will there possibly be room for that? So unfortunately, we need to start by talking about a new parking structure, transportation
start
hub,
with the boring stuff,
and entrance on Harbor Boulevard. So like has been mentioned a long time ago with this Eastern Gateway project and on all these problems, they need to put another parking structure that has a security checkpoint in it. But somehow this time they are keeping the harbor entrance because everyone on Harbor Boulevard was pissed off. And apparently other entrance, I think, there's this entrance here and then this entrance to the walkway. I guess the walkway goes to the Esplanade?
Yes. So basically how this is going to work, going back to the parking structure, which is not shown in the concept art.
Yeah.
They had previous imagery with Eastern Gateway, so it's not going to look like that anymore. It's all been redesigned. In terms of the parking structure, they did announce it to be only 6,000 parking spaces, which for comparison, Mickey and Friends is 10,000 and Pixar Pals is about 6,500 parking spaces. So you're looking at something slightly smaller than Pixar Pals. And that's just to start. That's not going to be the overall property that's behind those hotels on Harbor. They actually have enough room to build a parking structure that is larger than Mickey and Friends and Pixar Pals combined, which we'll get to a little bit later. But that would be a potential replacement of the Toy Story parking lot. But for now, it's just going to be a 6,000 space parking structure, as well as a new transportation hub and security hub that leads to this bridge that goes across Harbor Boulevard. So if you look up the concept art and you pull it up on the Parks blog, it kind of has this wave that kind of goes up and over the monorail and it kind of makes its way down towards the Esplanade. Now, the actual entryway from Harbor is going underneath that bridge, and has its own security checkpoint. So if you're at the Harbor Hotels, you enter into Disneyland just the same way, but now it's going to look really nice. It's going to look modern and a little bit mid-century, just like the new downtown district. They're bringing back the old Disneyland signage, which is amazing. Like actually having that restored in some way is really cool. It's a lot better than what they have now, which is kind of ugly and depressing.
Yeah, they kind of have something at the hotel, the Disneyland Hotel, and they change it every now and then. And it has notes of this, but it's not like this big sign with the flags on it and whatever.
Yeah, if this gets built as shown, it's going to be huge.
And something to note, you can decide to go into downtown Disney. You're basically going to the Esplanade.
Yeah.
Or go up to the bridge. Oh, wait.
So
no, wait. The bridge.
That is probably going to be exit only. So my assumption is that is an exit only pathway. It does seem like that structure has an elevator in it as well. But I'm pretty sure security is going to make that a one-way out because it gives people an option of if they parked at the parking structure to go out onto Harbor Boulevard to the businesses. And that's the thing that they were worried about is that all these people are going to be coming in. They're going to be coming in, going northbound and then go off on Disneyland Way. And that's how they're going to go to the parking structure. And now how are they going to get over here to McDonald's or Denny's or, whatever else?
So
it's going to give them that option.
They said, I don't know if they used the word multiple, but they said exits for Harbor.
Yes.
It might just be this one.
I'm pretty sure it's just that one because otherwise, if you go down the rest of the ramp, you're going to have to U-turn back in order to exit onto Harbor.
Yeah. So you can exit on the Harbor or continue on into the Esplanade. And then if you do exit, you can get in line down here.
Yeah, you can go to the pick up and drop off.
Because the point that we're making is the bridge is part of the secured area of the resort. Once you're on the bridge, you don't have to go through security again.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing where you get out of your car, go through security. There is no people mover. There is no tram, but you're good.
Yeah.
This was mentioned a while ago. This is going to be rough if you're in a wheelchair. Many people are in ECVs now and stuff. I wonder if there will be the rentals out there.
I mean, they did that during the pandemic when you had to walk from the structure when you didn't have the tram access.
They might do it because they have it's a fresh start.
Yeah.
Like that took the spot of where the trams were.
Yeah.
So if you're building a parking structure that is like it's not just a parking structure, it's a transportation hub, then maybe there will be a spot to rent and they'll shift them around at night.
That's entirely possible. Plus, it's a sort of future-proof development because eventually the amount of people who are going to be using that access point are just going to grow with time. Like if that security hub isn't oversized, I would be surprised because it's like you're going to end up quadrupling the amount of parking spaces that they're going to build in that side. So that's a lot of people to funnel down this one singular bridge. So they need it to be able to handle all that occupancy.
Yeah. And something, we're kind of mentioning things out of order.
Yeah.
The reason this is important, the bus depot is gone. It's being moved
completely gone
to this far away parking structure. It's not that far, but it's being moved to the parking structure. So you'll have to catch a bus there.
All your hotel shuttles, everything, convention center, all of that's going to be run through across the other side of Harbor Boulevard. So you will have this long walk, not so long, but it'll be long enough you'll feel it.
Yeah, and long story short, DCA will spill into part of that bus depot. Because there's also that, like, it's a cast member drop-off back there, too?
Yes. So the cast member drop-off is actually over on the right-hand side. Most likely that entryway that's coming on off of the Harbor, it's still going to be the cast member drop-off because Harbor Point's down on the right-hand side. If you don't know, Harbor Point is where all of the cast members of Disneyland, if they're coming in from that side, are going to be dropped off and enter in for their workday. There's also offices over there that are still being used. In the concept art going back from Harbor Boulevard, if you walk up, you'll see this oval that's right underneath the Disneyland Resort sign. Most likely that's still ticket booths because that's another thing you won't see in this concept art. All the ticket booths are gone, completely removed. And that is the future that we're looking at. They're already going to remove some of them for, Portos that they're going to be building into the
Esplanade.
I
called that like 2 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Because no one uses those.
No.
The ones that they have, I wonder if they won't open up those DCA guest services again. They only do that for the group tickets.
So it'll be interesting because I do think that you're going to see some redevelopment in the Esplanade to add in those services because now you have disability access services and those are using the ticket booths on that harbor side. So they need to move those somewhere that's still guest accessible. I'm not sure if that's going to be out here on the curb. I'm pretty sure it's still going to be inside the resort district. But they still need ticket booths. You still have people even to this day. Literally the other day, I had somebody walk up, hey, where can I buy tickets? It's still going to be a thing. Getting reservations, altering things, changing and upgrading,
changing the payment method on your pass.
Yeah,
changing your name. I do that.
Yeah.
You have to show an ID, and like the ticket booth people have magical powers.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't do it anymore. But if they really wanted to, they can get rid of your no-show. They can make you a reservation when it's full. Based off of they won't do it. Like go ask them, they're gonna say no, get bent. But there are like weird situations of like a big one is, oh, my kid needs a pass now because they were 2, and I'm going to give you $1,000. I have a pass.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually like a written policy somewhere. Like, oh, if your kid grows into a pass and they're not for sale, but you have passes,
you can get
them
yeah.
one. And so they need all those. I'm sure they'll give the online people more power too, just to kind of get rid of all this. Guest services still exists along like, where the photo pass thing is too. Outside you can still look at your photos at Disney.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing.
Yeah, totally.
Probably last thing we could say about the parking, besides these interesting barriers to block off the ugly street.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll do like what do they call it? Like the touchless scanners at the new parking structure? Because a big thing is the security union.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the thing that prevented it.
But there are currently no security jobs at the new parking structure. There's still going to be security here.
Yes.
So will they say, we are not removing any of your jobs at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
We're still creating new jobs for you, new shifts.
Yeah.
But we need to use this other system because there's going to be 15,000 people here eventually. We got to get them on the bus or off the bus. You know what I mean?
They will need the new modern security system just to handle the amount of people coming through, because otherwise it's going to get ridiculous.
Yeah.
And especially now that the actual entrance is so easy too, like scanning into the parks, you're whether you use the Magic Band or your ticket, just that auto scan, like whenever I use the Magic Band, it's so fast to just tap it instantly scans and the gates open. It's insane.
The screen is tilted the wrong way though. Because Kimmy will scan, and then it'll scan my face.
Yeah, if you're standing behind
her.
somebody. Yeah,
and
do that.
Their problem is they put the barcode scanner in the screen when really the screen should have been in the front, like in the middle.
Yeah.
So it can see you from far away. You can read it from back there. There's nothing to read. Barcode scanner should have just been on that pedestal, phone upside down.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think in the end, the more that we figure out how to use this system, it's going to be more efficient. I personally have noticed that the lines seem to go faster at the entrance. Very rarely is it slow, and when it is, it's the exact same issues that have always existed of, oh, you didn't get a reservation, oh, your ticket is invalid, that type of thing.
Oh, we didn't schedule enough cast members. Half the gates are closed. They do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But that's a Disney issue, and that's an everywhere issue right now. Hospitality industry, it's rough. They're not
rough out there.
Yeah.
One more note. So again, we're talking about the security points. I did want to note that the monorail, again, going underneath this bridge, which just tells you how high up that bridge is going to be. That's going to be big.
Oh yeah.
But also the monorail is not rerouted. It is going the same pathway across the front of Disneyland back towards Tomorrowland, as well as down Harbor Boulevard and back into California Adventure. This is something that we're going to note and talk about a little bit later on when we get to Avatar.
They were going to move it.
It
redirect
like
slightly, but
redirect slightly is something that could have been possible. There was no official term with that. With Disneyland Forward, they were going to have the ability to do that, as well as add new transportation to the resort, and that's something we'll get into later with Disneyland Forward. But yeah, in the end, it's like, cool, monorail staying as is. I really do hope that they replace the monorails that we have eventually. Not necessarily the design. The design still works. I think it could use slight update, but moreover that they're getting old, they're creaking, they're kind of falling apart in certain extents. They need a massive refurbishment.
They were wrapped before we had better vinyl wrap, so they can't unwrap them, and they just make their own, what is it, Fordite You know
I'm not sure what it's called.
no,
now,
no.
but,
Do you know what Fordite is? I think
No.
it's called or Fordium. It's from the old Ford factories.
Oh wow.
The paint booths. You'd have just chunks of like layers of paint from all the years, and you cut one of these open,
Yeah.
and it's just got Mickey, like the brave little tailor Mickey or whatever it was with the paintbrush, with the Disney 100, and then the
Yep.
whatever.
Well, essentially every time they wrapped it, it was a larger wrap because they had
Yeah.
to cover up the previous one. Because as soon as you start peeling it off, it would peel off all of the paint right off of it.
They may as well
Yeah.
because they're wrapping it. So just I don't know.
I think it's just cost. It's just the wrap's cheaper, and they just keep going with it. But eventually, they need to refurb the monorail. It's getting old. It's getting long in the tooth. It's falling apart. As far as I'm aware, the underneath chassis is the same as even the previous generation of monorail. They pretty much just keep re-skinning it, putting a new monorail on top of the old chassis over and over again. And so you're looking at a pretty old ride system at this point. Like it needs to be kind of brought back and rebuilt. But the problem is those companies don't really exist anymore. So you have to kind of come up with your own thing. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right. And on to our next part here. I did want to note, so as we kind of go into the future of the resort, I did want to remind people Avengers Campus is already under construction. So we're getting that Avengers e-ticket, the Avengers Infinity Defense, as well as Stark Flight Lab. These things right now, that whole parking lot it's been leveled. It's all dirt out there. They finally were building the foundation. And so permits were filed, I believe this past week, to go vertical and start building the show building. So any time now in the next few weeks, by the end of the month, by the end of next month in July, I assume we will start seeing vertical steel going up around Avengers Campus.
Yeah, as well as Earl of Sandwich. It's been happening.
Yeah,
Crazy that they just are laying everyone off and then starting fresh.
Well, and I think the problem is just there's so many construction projects going on, and you have certain things that run into delays or they have little problems. And Earl's is one of those where you're like, that's just been a steel building for so long that, I'm like, when are they actually going to build the building part of it,
Well, and shout out, ESPN Zone has windows now.
Yeah, they're officially. That was the thing that I wonder almost if you're right, where it was like they were working on Earl's and they were like, we need to reskin this, ESPN building. Which is still, it's a weird thing. I feel like there's some aspect of that's not going to last forever. And I think that's why they're putting in these smaller venues in there.
That and that security checkpoint that's permanent, but also like, it's like 4 poles in the ground and a circus tent.
Yeah.
I think that's like okay, when we do spill the theme parks out into here and we have the new bridge and whatever, because I think for a second it looked like they were going to redo the downtown Disney entrance.
Yeah.
And they just kind of like, we'll
side,
come back. Because then they got to do Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah, I don't think that stays either.
So
that whole side just looks primed to be rebuilt into something.
But I think with the new parking situation, which is going to be a little while, but I think they're not in a rush for any of these things. That downtown Disney entrance is going to be used less and less. Like, I don't even know who it's used by besides people walking from the parking structure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where because security takes as long as it does, it is an alternative. And then sometimes people are like, yeah, I'll walk over here and ride the monorail into Tomorrowland. I'm just trying to get over to Space Mountain as fast as possible. But looking at that overall construction in terms of the parking structure, everything we talked about earlier, it'll be interesting to see how long that takes, while at the same time, I think that they're going to be pushing that into overdrive. Because I have predicted previously, and I will still keep my chips on this, that 2028 is when they want to open the Avengers Campus expansion, as well as prep the resort for massive traffic associated with the 2028 LA Olympics. So I will not be surprised to see them do that.
Yeah, oddly enough, the last time we had the Olympics here, there was no traffic because everyone was too afraid. But the tourists will come. So
yeah, that's kind of the thing. And even it's after the Olympics have happened that your city was now a spotlight, so you get a lot more global tourism. That's kind of why they've been doing so many LAX projects in preparation for that.
Yeah. And just actual final note about parking. For those of you coming from south, going northbound on the 5, the exit ramp will possibly be modified, if not just an easy way, an easy like extra thing on the street to get into the parking structure, so you can avoid going to Mickey and Friends, making the U-turn, the Disney Way nonsense, the which lane do I get in, that Ball Road left turn and then the other left turn, terrible. I hate that because it's like the cast member parking with the divider. So hopefully,
so Disney Way is going to be the pathway that goes to this next parking structure, but it's not going to go directly into it. They're not going to have as direct an off ramp as they do if you're going southbound. But eventually, when they build the larger structure, that's when they're supposed to build a new off ramp to the freeway.
Yeah, they said it will be
in.
easier and cause less traffic on all the other streets.
Yeah,
and Magic Way will be closed.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's another thing. So the most imminent projects, besides Avengers Campus, it's just going. They're doing it.
That's in progress right now. We're talking about what's about to happen, what they just updated us on, and this is the exciting part. So we'll go right into the first thing that's going to happen, which is Coco. They gave us not just a location update, but a timeline update. Pretty much everything that they talked about here got moved up by like 6 months. Is like they were just like, all right, we've got all our designs done. Let's go. Let's move forward. And when it comes to Coco, they showed a new piece of concept art showing this whole plaza that's going to be built, this entryway. It was very green, very colorful. In the back left, you'll notice the Incredicoaster. And on the right side, some people noticed on social media, and they pointed this out, that you can tell it's the planter that's associated with the Paradise Gardens Grill area and the Paradise Gardens Park. So in the Parks blog article, they definitely pointed out, hey, it's going to be right here. It's between Pixar Pier and Paradise Gardens Park. In the concept art, that is where the current parade gate is that leads out from Pixar Pier on that side.
It looks like
all that's going to be gone.
Tilted a little bit too. I mean,
yes, yeah,
it's
towards
where
the walkway. It's definitely designed for you to follow that right side, going past Little Mermaid, and then curve up into where Coco is going to be. Now, this section is currently mostly backstage. It's something else they talked about in the article. And I don't know if it was in permits yet, but a lot of people mentioned that backstage buildings are going to be demolished. Things are going to change. Now, there's two buildings that don't appear to be getting modified or changed. And one is the California Adventure. I believe it's ODV. So it's all of the food carts that you see in California Adventure. All of them get their items from this location. All the soda, all the popcorn, everything's done here and then shipped out across the rest of the resort and driven backstage. So that building kind of needs to stay. It's an important development. You can't move that offsite. It has to be there. So that's going to stay, as well as I believe there's another ops building to the right. I'm not sure if it's maintenance or anything, but the main building that's going to go away, that's right behind the Incredicoaster, you can see it when you're on there, is the California Adventure Parades building. And so kind of the real question is, what does California Adventure look like without parades? And I think we've already seen that. But does it even need it?
That Pixar parade is big. People love it.
Yeah. I mean, I would say they do, but it's clearly not as popular as something like Paint the Night. It's a piece of daytime entertainment, and as long as you don't have anything else going on in California Adventure, it will still see crowds.
And I think if it really is the end of parades for DCA, I think we'll see another festival.
Oh yeah, no,
I think we'll 100%. Get a summer festival, whether it's a flower and garden, probably not flower and garden, but like we have food and wine
festival.
Yeah, we have a food and wine up until late April. Right? We have you even have Lunar New Year right before the holidays, right before that, with like a 1 week gap.
Yeah.
So I could see there being like a Memorial Day into August before Halloween.
Yeah.
Being some sort of summer arts festival. And then they would probably just skip Halloween because we have Oogie Boogie has a parade.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Do you think they'll kill the parade?
I think they're going to kill the parade. I think it's possible that parade actually moves over to Disneyland, and we might actually get an eventual, when all this construction is happening at California Adventure and there's walls everywhere and Coco's getting redeveloped, all this stuff. It's entirely possible that they say, hey, we're going to go back to Disneyland for a few years and do the Halloween party again. And there will be some nostalgia to that aspect. And I think they'll have a lot of fun with it. I mean, they clearly have no problem continuing to do ticketed events over at Disneyland. And so I would not be surprised to see them bring.
It's just a lot of nights now.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But I could see them moving it back because you want ticketed events in DCA because you want both to be open. They want a double dip. But on top of that, I could see them dropping it because they're cheap.
Yeah.
But what would be a cool option is an Oogie Boogie World of Color.
Yes, that is kind of what this would be building
I feel like
to.
that's so easy.
Well, and that was the thing is they tried it, and it was very bad.
Well, they didn't do the villains thing that they were gonna do.
It's you could see that they had that idea, and then somebody was like, "Yeah, but I want to do this whole other subplot thing that just was not interesting or well done."
And I am not advocating for this, but we're talking business right now.
Yeah,
You develop World of Color. Sure, it's maintenance, whatever. You don't pay human beings for live entertainment for World of Color. All those parade workers, all those dancers.
yeah.
Disney loves that crap.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been workshopping doing a show for
Yeah.
Oogie Boogie, a theater show.
Yeah,
They-
Hyperion.
It's in this. Talk about Hyperion.
Oh yeah,
But they've been putting that in surveys, Nightmare Before Christmas show, whatever, because they use the Disney Junior building for a meet and greet now.
mm-hmm.
So you could see them being like, oh, we'll do a little mini production, which is cheaper than a parade probably. There are no floats.
yes.
And if they wanted to do a World of Color, it's like, okay, just do. They would have run World of Color that night anyway.
yeah,
And there are no props or anything. The lights change colors. So they could just do that instead of a parade.
I mean, I think in the end, parades, for a certain extent, it's like they make sense in California Adventure. It was built for them.
Mhm.
They have this amazing parade route, but now that it's been used for all these food festivals, it's like you can just keep that going nonstop. And it's such a profit generator. And it's such an interest, builder in terms of like, that's part of the appeal of California Adventures. It's the festival park. It's, I'm going to go here. I'm going to try all these foods with my friends. Like that, you can spend half your day doing that. And in a park that doesn't have enough to do, that makes sense. But now that you're going to be adding in 3-4 new attractions, okay, well, that's going to be a lot of focus. That's a lot of attention. People are going to be coming in here anyway. You don't really need a parade to drum up traffic. You don't need Oogie Boogie Bash to use your park that is less used. In fact, you kind of need it in the other park because you're going to have so many new things in California Adventure that's where people are going to want to go.
Yeah. And I could even if they're doing almost year-round festivals, I could still see them skipping Halloween because it gets way too busy during Halloween over there.
Oh, yeah.
Like the walkways are insane and there's no festival.
When you think now that they're going to have Coco, you have Dios de los Muertos. Like it's going to go all in. Like it's just, you're going to have this huge focus. And I mean, I had friends kind of going back to the Coco project and talking about it. I had a friend who was like, oh man, I think they cut this. I think that they're not going to be doing this anymore. I think one of these projects got cut from just from economic reasons. Because back when we were even in the previous podcast a few months ago talking about economic uncertainty, if you're looking at the projects and you're looking at what is certain and what's your bet? If you're already building Avengers and you're looking at Coco and Avatar, which one does corporate Disney choose to keep? Which one is the bigger project and which one is the one that can fall to the wayside? And so there was some slight concern that maybe Coco wouldn't last. But I think for all of us who are here in California, we're like, Coco, like there's no way.
Disney
like,
wants to do Coco, especially they're doing Coco 2.
Yeah.
They know that Coco,
it's huge.
It's huge. It's an interest generator.
Yep.
Probably a money generator. And this area that they're putting it in is already like half of the year Plaza de Familia. So Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta, I don't think they're really going to hurt by not selling pizza and pasta.
I think that's true. I also don't know if they're going to get rid of that because they already have Cocina Cucamonga. So they already have one Mexican restaurant. You do still have the offering on the right side of Paradise Gardens Grill. I do think that will be permanent Mexican food once this opens up. I actually don't think Paradise Gardens Park is going to change too much with this development. Coco is clearly going to be this sort of mini area that leads into that backstage section.
So that gate that we see.
Yes.
This is facing towards Paradise Gardens Grill and stuff, is it not?
So on the left, you'll see the Incredicoaster.
Yeah.
And on the right, that is the Paradise Gardens Grill entryway. This archway and everything is further in the walkway where the normal Pixar Pier gate is that goes backstage. So that whole Coco area is actually going to go into backstage, and then you'll have the entryway into the attraction. Now, there's not going to be anything else there, really. I'm I would not be surprised to see like the churro cart get moved over there or something else where it's like, yeah, we'll have a merch cart and we'll have some food options, but otherwise it's just going to be an outdoor queue for the attraction and then the indoor queue.
Yeah, it does say in areas that are predominantly backstage today.
Yes.
So
it's going to kind of be this little plaza that they're going to build, and then surrounded by part of the show building, because I think that they are going to have to build this as compact as possible to fit in the attraction that they proposed. So the original on-stage announcement from Josh D'Amaro basically pitched this as something inspired by Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. They mentioned the animatronics of these characters where they're basically skeletons. So you have to kind of build it in there to make it look that way. You can see through the animatronic. That's going to be incredible. But you have to build this whole attraction around it. You need it to still be impressive. We don't want a Tangled situation like at Fantasy Springs where it's like 3 show sequences and then it's done. I'm pretty sure people are going to expect more than that. And so hopefully that this attraction is still something that's exciting, still introduces and has a lot of moments in it and really brings us into that world. I do wonder if instead of loading the guests and you're like, we're in the real world, I wonder if the pre-show is going to be basically you walking on the Marigold Bridge. I would not be surprised that is a way to get people further backstage to where the actual show building can be built. Kind of Indiana Jones style, where you're like, keep going backwards into backstage. The one thing I did want to note is that how this expansion and area, like I originally thought with the whole Simba parking lot proposal and that whole idea of, we're going to be building and spilling DCA out into this side, that this is where that bridge would happen, where you'd cross away from California Adventure into another adventure. Instead, that's where this Coco attraction is. I don't think there's enough room for them to build Coco here and have room for that bridge, especially when the only other place to do it would be to, demolish Paradise Gardens Grill and build the bridge from there, which would go straight into the Pixar Place Hotel. So it's like, I don't know going forward if this is going to allow people to further allow the park to continue to expand. I almost feel like this is the end of California Adventure. This is it. You're with Coco and Avatar, and we'll talk about Pandora in a moment. You're capping off California Adventure. That's it. This park is fully built out. Anything that happens in here is going to be slight reimagining, slight redevelopments. Again, I will not be surprised to see Pixar continue to spill out and take over the rest of Paradise Gardens Park in certain ways. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay. So just to talk about Design Forward for a minute, do you think those expansions will expand both parks, or do you think it's a Disneyland thing?
I think that they're their own thing. And I want to get into that a little bit later once we've talked about all the developments with California Adventure. Okay. Because it is important to kind of differentiate, is this a continuation of the theme parks or is this something new? And even in the Disneyland Forward website, it was really funny to see when they announced this stuff, announced Coco and Pandora coming, they were like, hey, it's Disneyland Forward. And it's like, it's not really. It's actually still inside the borders of California Adventure. None of that has changed yet. So it's interesting to see them kind of refocus that because that's what people are going to see. And Disney clearly wants people to focus on this is what's happening here in the near term versus Disneyland Forward, which is a 30-year plan. So it's the kind of the thing where you're like, yeah, but people don't want to talk about the fact that they're going to be 30 years older when this stuff actually is fully built out. But just talking about Coco is a fast-tracked project. It's happening sooner rather than later. They announced that construction would begin this fall. Previously, it was in next year. So that's moved up again dramatically. And permits have already been filed with the city to begin backstage work and development. That was recently announced. So, yes, they said construction begins in the fall, but a lot of the development and sort of moving things off site and changing things around is going to happen a lot sooner. We mentioned Coco 2, which was set for 2029. So I would predict that is when they're planning on opening this. So you think Avengers Campus 2028, Coco 2029. And then we'll get to Pandora and Avatar, which I would love to see that open by 2030 for the 75th anniversary.
Avatar by 2030?
Yeah.
I got to speed that up.
They will.
Last fun note on expanding Pixar.
Yeah.
For now, no plans with Grizzly Peak because of the hotel. So there's no Pixar thing there yet. Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta. Luca and Gatto. We'll see. They're both in Italy.
Yeah.
Not even like a expansive.
It's such an easy just change,
dude. Okay, yeah. People are too big for this nowadays. I'm sorry, dude. Easily retheme Goofies with new vehicles for like little Vespas.
Oh my gosh, yes,
easy,
yes.
Like I'm not even saying that's a good idea. It's just something stupid they would do, right? But you could just, dude, put some facades up on the buildings, and Italy, and now Pixar Pier's bigger, right? But yeah, Coco's coming. It's exciting. I'm glad they're doing it. A little disappointed that the Pixar Promenade is not a little church that's turning into the Coco thing, but I just wanted that to happen. Crazy though that, forget the parade, that a backstage gate is going away.
Yeah.
So they really got to get creative with how they get back there, right?
Well, there is this side road. If you ever are at the downtown Disney parking lot and you go cross, you'll see gates just across from you. And that is a small, like, not off ramp, but it's like sort of an expressway that goes in the backstage of California Adventure and is a way to redirect traffic away to start moving people towards Toy Story lot. So I remember back in the day when they would have to close Mickey and Friends and they'd be sending everyone down, Disney Way. And you take that left to go towards Toy Story where they're trying to like reroute you on city streets. That back pathway, I could easily see them reuse for backstage to cut a shortcut from back behind Avengers Campus and back around to Pixar Pier. So that way you can push out where the Coco building's going to be, kind of going into that backstage area.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's go Hollywood.
Yeah. Hollywood goes Avatar.
Oof. So a portion of the Hollywood backlot will be turned into an Avatar destination.
And I do want to know right now, they keep saying experience, Avatar destination. They never say land. And a lot of people are like frustrated by that. Just call it a land. I think this is less a sort of that it's not going to be a land or not going to be an attraction, and more has to do with it being Pandora and being a James Cameron thing where it's like, no, this is an experience. You're going to another world. You know, it's like, it's that type of immersion. Very similar to Galaxy's Edge early on, very similar to Pandora and Animal Kingdom, where you're treating this as something else, even though, yes, it's just a land with an attraction.
Why? Okay. I'll ask the questions later. So yeah, early development, art's been changing, right?
Yeah, huge changes.
Definitively, though, it is going there. So Mike and Sully will close in early 2026.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I hardly knew ye. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a cute ride. But it's not an underrated gem. You know, people love saying that stuff. It's perfectly rated. It's good, not great.
Good, not great, for sure. Oh, man, I just can never get over, they'll never get her door now. Hey, look, Boo, there's your door. Like, that immediate scene transition is just so funny.
And just Celia. What
oh, my gosh, like
when he's doing the
they're not even, like, really full animatronics. Like, they're not even really, and except Roz. And so there's a lot of that where you're just like, oh, okay, this could be done better. And they're going to get their whole land over in Hollywood Studios in Florida. So at this point, it's Monstropolis is over there. We don't need it anymore. It's okay. It had nothing to do with California or anything else anyway. It's like this was purely done out of the necessity of reusing a dark ride that you built that was so unpopular you had to close it 2 years into operation.
Yeah. So the new concept art.
Yeah. Okay. The previous concept art was a lot more open, not necessarily vague,
but it had a lake.
Oh man, no, it was huge. Massive amounts of water. It did appear like the building on the right side was the old Hollywood and Dine. I forget what the stage number is, but you might have remembered it as the one that's behind. It's the building behind the Hollywood Lounge. If you've been to the Trammin meetups, that's where we hang out. Supposedly, in that early concept art, that was going to be repurposed into most likely the restaurant for Pandora. So that would have been used as sort of multi-concept, and they still have the kitchen space back there. Would have been a great affordable way to add on to that project. I'm not sure if that's happening anymore because the new concept art is so insulated. And yes, there's still water and everything else, but the rock work is so high and you're sort of in this valley that I really wonder if all of this is on the other side of the monorail, that no part of this is really going to spill into the Hollywood backlot itself, really. and it's all going to be behind where Monsters is.
So is this just going to be a huge wall?
Oh yeah,
in the
that's the
Esplanade?
show building.
Like, they'll have to theme the back of this, because usually when they don't theme the back of something, it's because Anaheim gets to see it.
Yeah,
But if you see this from the Esplanade, like, you may as well just cover everything up, whatever.
It's gonna be the same as when you walk by the Indiana Jones building, which so many people don't recognize because it's painted go away green. It's like it's gonna be the same thing. I can expect them to do a little bit more with it. Maybe they'll put giant LEDs and a billboard on the back of it or something. But it is going to very clearly be an insular space. I expect that all of that is pretty much going to be building on the left and right, whether that's going to be, it's an inside space that pretends that it has an outside portion and you can see the ocean of Pandora. That would actually be really cool if they built a restaurant and you could kind of extend out the world from there.
The ride vehicles are no longer shown in the concept
They still
art.
are. If you look in the very back, right next to the waterfall, if you zoom in, you'll still see the ride vehicles. They do appear, somebody did pinpoint that they do appear to be slightly smaller than the occupancy of the previous one. And that just might mean that overall the project now is being slightly scaled down to fit into that space. Again, this is all early development. So they still haven't committed to the overall space itself. They're still moving things around, but they know it's going here in the Hollywood backlot. That's the firm thing. So whether that spills out into all of the Hollywood backlot up to Hollywood Boulevard, or whether it remains sort of in the back of that space, I do think that whole area is going to get redeveloped. Talking about Hollywoodland overall, I think that it is all going to go much more Buena Vista Street, much more immersive, much more throwback. But you're still going to keep things around like Animation Academy and the little theater there that currently is PhilharMagic. I don't know how long that's going to last, but they're still going to keep that in there. And so it gives you this option of, it's just Hollywood. It's this transition. We're going to transition from the beginning of the Walt Disney Company with Snow White and the Seven Dwarves and the history of animation. Yeah, you can see there in the vehicle. Yeah. It almost looks like a 2x2, maybe 3x3 rows. So it's a lot more tighter, whereas the previous concept art was like 4 people in each row. So again, I do wonder if the vehicles have kind of downgraded slightly. Wow, that is basically just an image of a person just slapped in there. It's so high res. But yeah, in the end, it's like I wonder how Pandora's going to fit in, how they're going to build in that space. I did do some sort of Google Earth sort of acreage trying to figure out how you can do it, and you can still fit the entire Pirates of the Caribbean ride from Shanghai in that space between where the Esplanade is and where the old transportation hub is and Hollywood. So you can kind of squeeze that in on that monorail side. I almost wondered if the monorail would just basically be put in a valley where the front of that show building sort of aspect would be like kind of on the front where the Mike and Sully area is, and the backside would be just all show building. So we'll see whether the monorail kind of gets a little bit more enclosed or whether it remains open. And on the right side of the monorail is where Pandora is. That's still up in the air. We'll learn more, especially coming into the end of this year with Destination D, which is up here in August. So that'll probably be the next time we have one of these chats to kind of analyze all that. But let's see. Anything else about Pandora?
Okay, so I want to kind of move. This Hyperion Theater is confirmed to stay. He said, but why?
Yeah.
So my but why? Why do you think they shrunk this? Like, why do you think they shrunk this and to keep Hollywoodland? Because now Hollywoodland will have no attractions. They'll have an animation building that's half Anna and Elsa's green room and a college thing, right? Like, I love Animation Academy, but why? Like, why for Hollywoodland?
I think Hollywoodland, when they redevelop it, they want to use it as a showcase of this is a lot of flex space that can be used for any IP that we're developing now.
So it's still my original thing when we talked about, I think I called it Lost in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Was, are they still waiting for the next thing, the next big thing?
I think that they're going to stop waiting and they're going to develop spaces that can be easily changed over, a lot more digital stuff. So even the Hyperion, when they redeveloped it and they added in the stuff for Frozen, a lot of that involved modern screen backdrops.
Yeah.
Because it allowed you to do a variety of things. You can show movies in there. You can change the development. I remember they had a cast musical that was Mary Poppins, and it was all digital backdrops. So like they can do incredible things in those spaces. Animation Academy, all those little rooms that they're using right now for schools and everything like that. Yes, that's the way it is now, but all those rooms could be redeveloped into guest areas so easily. They're very small spaces, very easy projects to develop. You can time it with an anniversary or celebration, anything else you want to do. The Hollywood Theater that's there. Easily you can redevelop that into a new show or put in movie previews just like they did previously. But it gives you this flex space moving off of the Hollywood theme basically to kind of expand into the future of what Disney is, which is both Avengers and Pandora and Avatar.
What is weird though is like the backlot.
Yeah.
That's a specific name.
Mm-hmm.
And right now there is a sign that denotes where the backlot is. So there's that stage that's behind Fairfax Market.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's not easy to just transition into Avatar.
No, absolutely not. And that's the interesting part is like, even if you do keep that around, you're going to have to put up building facades in that whole area or do something to kind of theme it and give it that transition of, how are you getting to Pandora? What is this transition? Because in Animal Kingdom, it's a jungle. You go from a jungle that's on Earth and then all of a sudden alien plant life starts to appear and now you transition into the Valley of Moana.
And the Hyperion's there, and then you have the awkward, like it's kind of part of Avengers Campus sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though there's a wall there that's kind of open. Like you could imagine Avengers Campus getting some technological theming transition into Pandora, right?
Yes, and in particular, you already have the sort of alien atmosphere that is Mission Breakout, and there's concept art from a second iteration of Avengers Campus in redevelopment, and this is when they were the original Avengers e-ticket, where they had an idea of putting alien plant life all around the Guardians building and making that whole area feel very alien, like basically Mission Breakout. The life has broken out of the Tavon collection and is now here on Earth and growing. And so it was going to have this whole alien environment around it. And that would have been an easy transition. That would have, if you got rid of Hyperion and you were just spilling this out, great. But the Hyperion is such a high capacity event space that has such potential for the resort. And we already mentioned, again, maybe Oogie Boogie Bash gets something in there. You know how popular a Nightmare Before Christmas show would be in that space?
Yeah, it's just like
that's like free money that they just haven't utilized. Like, because yes, these shows are expensive, but you can make an event out of them. I mean, I even remember when they did the, Avengers Campus opening, let's do the whole Steve Rogers musical from Hawkeye. That was still a fun show. That was still a good time. That was worth seeing when you were there at the park. It was something worth doing. If they can really utilize that space, and they were even finding ways of selling seats, and selling stuff along with it. It works. It can be done. And so I don't think they want to lose that because they never know what they could potentially have.
It's the reason it kind of bugs me is that we got this huge Avatar concept thing, right?
Yeah.
I think it's hard to sell Avatar itself, but it's easier to sell grand Avatar experience because it is beautiful,
Yes.
right? And that's why like people were hyped over that original art.
Mm-hmm.
And this art, it's a little bit of look over here with this rock work.
Yeah.
But then you look down here and you're like, oh, this is like a tiny little area. And Pandora has that back area in Animal Kingdom, but it is also kind of a small land.
It is a relatively
like,
small land, yeah.
Why? I get the floating rocks are expensive, but we're not even getting those. Like, we were just doing a Cars Land deal. So not that expensive. I mean, relatively, right?
Yeah.
So like, why not just go big? Because they're like, oh, but what if the theater? It's like, yeah, I get it, but it's not like it's it's a giant box.
Well, and I'm not even saying that, like, regardless of whether this land is big or not, you don't have to get rid of the theater. You can make those entry transitions where the existing Hollywood backlot transitions are, and everything behind it is Pandora.
Well, and the other thing I was thinking too, like transition, whatever.
Yeah.
The Sunset Theater.
Mm-hmm.
The Hollywood backlot includes that weird stage.
Yeah.
That's the back, like the facades of that are Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can see like the outdoor portion exit of the Sunset Theater deep into the backlot.
Yeah. So they'd have to reroute that into what is currently the seating area for award wieners.
Yeah, but then there's like no award wiener seating.
Yep, that's gone.
They're doing some weird stuff right now.
I really wonder because they very much do not want the Hollywood backlot to feel like a backlot anymore. They don't want it to feel that way. I would not be surprised that naming convention is gone entirely when this is done.
Like, do you extend Buena Vista Street?
No,
slightly?
it's all going to be Hollywoodland. I think they blow that whole thing in. It's all Hollywood. We're going to make it really immersive Hollywoodland, kind of what certain parts of Sunset Boulevard feel like over in Hollywood Studios. I think they really redevelop that. They build a theater facade for Pandora and the world of Avatar, and then you walk in through that entryway and are transported. You're going in, it's movie theater, posters and walls, and then it turns into rock work, and now you're on Pandora. I think that's very clearly what they do to create something that is immersive, that is a transition, and again, allows you to move from here's where Disney started, and here's what we're doing now with these big Avengers movies and big Avatar movies. That's kind of your story through line that kind of goes through. And again, people are going to talk about the California naming convention. Does California Adventure stay California Adventure? And I'd argue it's like, I haven't heard a better name yet. I really haven't.
It's so okay. I don't think they change it because, one, they don't want to change the name of a theme park.
No.
They only change the name of a theme park when it has a stank on it.
Yeah.
I don't think DCA has a stank.
Nope.
From regular people. We talk. I love it. It's actually one of my favorite parks. But people just like to talk trash because it doesn't make any sense. But it doesn't need to make sense for people because we're back in this like immersive property thing.
Yeah.
I have heard arguments about the whole Epic Universe thing. Like Harry Potter works because it's a fleshed out land. Cars works because people are obsessed with it, right? But then like Avengers is kind of like odd because it's not a world, right?
Yes.
But I think they keep it because people just call it DCA.
Mm-hmm.
People just call it California Adventure, but many, many, many people call it Disney California.
Yep. Yeah,
and that's just
crazy.
like, oh, there's Disneyland and then there's Disney California.
It's the California park. It's the California park.
Does it make any sense when you think about it for 2 seconds? No. But people know, like, I think even like my dad will be like, oh, Disneyland. He knows what Disneyland is. If I say I'm going to Disneyland, he also knows that I mean I'm just going to the resort, right?
Yeah.
But he'll be like, oh, did you go to Disney California or something, right?
Yep.
And if I was like, what's the full name of the theme park? He'd probably be able to pull it out of his butt, right? But
yeah,
Disney California. That's what people call it.
Well, and people pointed out Disney Adventure World, which is the rename of the Walt Disney Studios park in Paris. They renamed that park because it's such a failure that it had that stank on it, as you were saying, where it's like, it's a failed park. It's not working. So you're going to rebrand it because you want people to forget about the old version of the park and focus on this new one. They don't need to do that for California Adventure. They already saved it when they did California Adventure 2.0.
Yeah, California Adventure is wonderful. It's just not this dream of California anymore.
No, not at all. Yeah.
You're never getting that back, but it is an actual wonderful theme park that does not really have many issues besides like little things like maybe shade or like places to eat that are unique or like sit downs, but like that's like a nitpick issue. That's not an issue for regular people.
Yeah.
Because regular people, like, we're just going to the Italian restaurant and we're getting the chicken parm and the paschetti and they love it. It's like, that's not good enough for us. And we're like, oh, the old refrigerators from Golden Vine Winery. But like, doesn't matter to most people. And old refrigerators, it's like the least, it's not a people mover track. All right.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Well, and as much as people always talk about, oh, it's all IP now, it's all this stuff. I'm like, you can still go to Grizzly Peak. You still have the Grand Californian Hotel. That's not going to change anytime soon.
It's super popular. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Grizzly River Run is insanely popular. Like, I mean, it's a water ride. It's the same reason Tiana's is always going to be popular. The other day, it was the longest wait time in the park. Why? Because it's hot. It's summer. Now it's going to be the most popular thing. But yeah, Grizzly Peak is still around. All that California theming is still there. So I do expect still from Imagineering, you're going to get some level of effort. And that's also why when you keep Hollywood Land around, it gives you that natural transition through there. I even think on Pandora, I will not be surprised if you're in the queue and the character that's spieling to you is a marine biologist from California. Like, I will not be surprised if you get those little ties in, into it. Even I forget the name, Pangu Pangu. I think it's the little stand that has drinks and snacks in Pandora in Florida. It's literally like kind of like a tiki bar. Like, it's kind of this coastal surf vibe, including the music. It's like it's surf rock in Pandora. And so if they add that into this land, you're going to get a tribute to the coastline and wildlife of California, even though it's on an alien world. Again, that's a very loose connection, but it's one of those things that draws it back into you're here, you're visiting California. Here's the thing that celebrates that and is kind of fun and exciting.
Yeah. So will Avatar open in time for Disneyland's 75th anniversary?
I think so. I think if everything goes according to plan, if they really are able to turbocharge this and run it, I can see them opening it by July 17th in 2030.
It's like a speed it up, but 5 years.
Yeah, that's plenty of time.
For Disney, it doesn't seem like it is.
But you think how long it took for them 5 years to build Galaxy's Edge?
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they're building a land that is half they had even less than half the size.
They had way more room though, because on the backside of Galaxy's Edge was backstage.
Yes.
The backside of this is the Esplanade, so they really got to turbocharge that. They got to turbocharge everything all at once.
Yeah, the parking structure, everything, because you think too that you're going to have to move into that transportation hub. So what do you do with it when you want to build Avatar? They haven't even talked about the construction timeline. All they've done is let us know Mike and Sully to the Rescue is closed in 2026. So I think a lot of that backstage demolition and push back to the transportation hub, that's going to be happening sort of starting in 2026 going to 2027.
That could start, the Esplanade stuff can start before, because Mike and Sully is, from what we're understanding, closer to like the end of Avatar Land. The end / beginning. The end from that side, into DCA. So they can start pulling buildings out. Yeah. They can start pulling ticket booths out. Those stage 17 and stuff have been closed for a long time. Mm-hmm. They can remove the whole back of that. You know what I mean? Like, so who knows? We'll see. But yeah, it seems like they're really kicking things in the gear. Before they kick things in the gear, though, they're not going to do it. Would be cool. One last hurrah, Hollywoodland, Electronica.
Oh, man.
9 Inch Nails, Tron Ares. Yeah.
I'm so bummed that they're not taking advantage of that because it was so popular. I mean, we haven't gotten there yet, and I'll mention it a little bit later, but even like Fantastic Four is supposed to have something going on in Tomorrowland. Still have no idea when that's happening. And that movie comes out in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
They're
always like
3 weeks.
Day late, dollar short with this stuff.
We'll see. I will not be surprised if we get some little, here's the little food items we're putting over here at the Tomorrowland lounge area, and here's where you can meet the characters.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering if they were going to put the movie preview in the Tomorrowland theater, but I think they would have done that by now.
Which it's crazy though, because they refurbed the theater.
They did.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation that's going to happen in a minute here. Yeah. But talking about all this stuff getting moved up quickly, turbocharging the Disneyland Resort, not just the theme park division, but everything here at Disneyland. So we had the whole like economic uncertainty conversation. Feels like that's not a factor anymore right now. That's kind of crazy that it's like in that short period of time, things felt like, we could be looking at a lot of pain here. And now it's like, I think we're going to be okay.
I think it's like I'm not smarter than these people, but sometimes, sometimes you see these executives, you're like, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They make such dumb decisions sometimes. So if in times of an economic downturn, if you don't need to borrow money, which they don't, if you have cash, you want to do things, you need to pump things full of money, because when that downturn is an upturn, you want to be ready. You want to have everything ready to go. Like, we lucked out, our company, we build machinery during COVID. We have a lot of medical customers, whatever. So we were essential. So we kept working, but when orders weren't coming in, we kept building. And then when orders came in, 2021, everyone's like, oh, what's your lead time? Like a year? We're trying to buy equipment. And we're like, 2 weeks, or like next week if you want this. And they're like, you have machines? Like, yeah, we kept building. And it did really well for us.
Excellent.
To be ahead of time, or like be ready for people to spend the money. So right now, if tourism's down, but it's going to be up during the Olympics, if you spent all that money getting ready for that, it's like, oh, the cash flow, whatever. It's like, you can convince your shareholders, we put the money in now. And then when everyone's ready, we already spent it. That year was debt. This year, all profit. And I know it's a gross simplification, but if you spend now, you'll be ready for people to give you their money.
Yeah. And that's why there were a lot of people during the Chapek, the early Chapek and 2020 years that are like, yeah, the parks are closed. Like, do something. It was like, yeah, but you also have, it's not just economic circumstances. There was health circumstances as well. And that's why they couldn't do that versus now where, as you're saying, it's like, actually, no, we can afford to do this because if we don't, then we're going to be, on the downside where it's like, oh man, if only we had a new ride opening this year.
Yeah. You don't want like a Tiana situation. Like it opens
oh my goodness,
in a cold season. And then by the time it gets hot, one, people are over it. Two, they don't have any money to come do it anyway. So like Tiana's, the ride itself is a success. The reception is a success. The hype around Tiana's in California was a complete dud.
Yeah.
Because it opened at the wrong time and then wait times dropped because it got cold. And it wasn't this grand, like a new ride opened.
Yeah.
And people cared more about Haunted Mansion reopening. One, they were a little crazier about Haunted Mansion, but two, it came at a good time. It was a little surprise when things reopened.
Yeah.
You got like the new queue and whatever. And it was a really big deal. Whereas Tiana's was a big deal for like a week because they had the previews.
And even to this day, so many people are going to the parks and experiencing Tiana's for the first time. Like that's the thing that it's like over time, this is all paying off. But it didn't have that immediate hit where, oh my goodness, the demand's crazy and everyone's going to that side of the park. It just didn't get that experience, which is a little disappointing. But like, it's not its own fault. It's just the development time and the opening just was not timed properly. But I did want to mention real quick, I know we're just talking about really Disneyland and the resort today, but Disneyland Abu Dhabi, that got announced previously. And do you really think that there's not going to be billions of dollars spent in R&D at Imagineering right now? That all that money that they need, we got to develop new animatronic technology and this and that. It's not, that's all going to get funded. That's all happening now. So a lot of stuff on the back end that is expense that we wouldn't consider necessarily in these projects is now all covered. So you don't have to worry about that as much, that you're going to have constant profit coming in. Not to mention once that park eventually opens, you don't have to spend any money. You're just getting it. You're just receiving it. That's why that deal came together from a financial perspective. It's like this is all upside. It's like having a second Tokyo resort for Imagineering for Disney.
And let's get shady for a second.
Yeah.
They're getting paid for R&D, right? We got some possible changes on Avatar or Coco, whatever, right?
Yeah.
If you decide, let's use a ride system in Abu Dhabi and here, you use the Abu Dhabi money, build a ride system.
Yep.
I think that's still totally on the up and up. And then, we already have this ride system developed. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to put Avatar over it. Now we spend that of the Disneyland budget, not because you don't want to get in trouble, right?
Nope.
But you kind of like get this, we already put in the work, may as well repurpose.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. But yeah, they could be pulling some weird shenanigans there.
Yeah. And any new Disney park, they're going to be opening up the catalog to the people who are paying and like, hey, what do you want?
Yeah. We're working on this thing.
Yeah, we're working on this thing. We have this idea. We have this experience, this attraction, even stuff that, you see, kind of the original Avengers attraction concept, or you see that whole hang glider ride system that's being suspended from the ceiling, stuff that hasn't been turned into a ride yet. That's the type of thing that it's like, okay, there's your e-ticket for Abu Dhabi. There's your flying carpet ride or whatever they're going to do. But then you have 6 to 10 other rides that need to still be built, and they need to be off the shelf and then reskinned into something. And so, as we're talking about, well, maybe it is the ride system that is, okay, we took the Shanghai Pirates and now we've redeveloped it into this new ride system that's a little bit more efficient, a little bit higher capacity in terms of being able to just pump people through for Pandora. Okay, well, maybe you want to use that for something else over here.
A thing that I've been noticing with the Monsters, Inc. ride, now the new Space Mountain in Tokyo, which it's still WDI, right?
Yep,
and
designed anyway.
Yeah, and then there's no more exclusivity crap.
There's still exclusivity. There's a 5-year exclusivity, I believe, with Tokyo for all their development projects.
Okay.
But, and Abu Dhabi is going to be the same way. It's going to have an exclusivity for everything.
What they've been working on is like more compact and expedited loading.
Oh yeah,
like they're even doing it with Avengers with the arm ride, the test thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, maybe we can load people out onto the side so it doesn't affect the ride closing down or break zones or yada yada.
Yeah.
And then getting people on to the ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we offload them, again, they're off to the side because Space Mountain's doing a track launch system that the track tilts up.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe that whole track is moving into place. And then, or, you load off to the side, then it goes and loads you onto the track, but it's a completely separate area. And then,
well, you think Rise of the Resistance, how you have 4 different load areas that are loading. And so if one is taking longer than the other, well, then the other one's going to just jump in the queue and take its turn. I mean, that was the whole thing with trackless ride systems to begin with, was efficiency. And now you're seeing that with tracked systems, roller coasters, all sorts of different things where it's like they're developing in the science of themed entertainment how to be more effective, how to be more efficient, how to keep the ride going despite delays and breakdowns, because the largest issue that you're going to have with a vehicle is the guests is the load time.
So what they've done is they took Bikini Bottom and put it somewhere else. Yeah. So yeah, I've been noticing they've been working on that, and that's from being in the biz for a really long time and going like, oh, people are just really bad at this and getting worse because people have no situational awareness. We can't have a Space Mountain situation where someone's lightsaber gets stuck in the little bar and then the ride closes down for 30 minutes and people think it's broken. And then all the other rides go crazy. Matterhorn's closed. So all the wait times go up.
Dynamics, man. You got to consider everything, including like what options you're going to be building to your theme park. I mean, just as an aside, California Adventure is a park that lacks dark rides. It doesn't have things that you can do where you just sit down and just enjoy an experience for, 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't have those. It's not like Disneyland where it's like, oh man, I can get on Pirates, I can get on Mansion, I can go over to Small World, I can do this. Like, you have these options. And California Adventure needs those to balance out all of its major thrill rides and attractions. So you're going to have the Avengers e-ticket, the Infinity Defense, that's a major dark ride. You're going to have Pandora. You're going to have this Avatar boat ride that's going to take you across that world. And then you're going to have Coco as well. So you have 3 brand new dark ride attractions.
Yeah, I think or hope Avatar will do something a little bit unique, especially if it's going to do the Shanghai thing.
Yeah.
And I think Coco, they'll try to make it a dark ride in water.
I think Coco is very much more traditional. Coco is going to be it's going to be much better than the Epcot boat ride that they have there in the Mexico Pavilion, but kind of again in that style where it's like we're going to take you through and we're going to have physical sets, and now we're actually going to have animatronics.
It might be like Navi River Journey.
It might be
like a small boat.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's what the concept art did show.
Yeah.
So capacity wise, I would not be surprised to see that. Hopefully a little bit more efficient.
I kind of like Navi River Journey.
It's nice.
I think it's
pleasant.
I didn't know about this. I don't know if it's underrated. I think it's like overly panned. Like, it's not that bad, guys.
It's panned because how long people wait for such a short attraction. That's why.
It didn't seem short though.
But it is. Technically, if you time it, it is.
How long was it?
It's like 2.5 minutes or
really?
Something. Yeah,
it seemed like at least 4 minutes to me. I don't know.
I feel like
it's not Pirates.
3 minutes.
It's not super short. But yeah.
But you will see how that goes. But that means that you're going to have, like, here's this boat ride that's like all family friendly. Here's Pandora, where it's like there might be some more intense motions here and intense environments and everything else. And then you get the Avengers ride, which is an action movie experience.
So where were we?
So Abu Dhabi R&D.
Yeah.
Again, Disney can't afford to wait when this stuff, which we talked about, especially with the IP. Think about the popularity of certain things, that it's like you don't want to build something like I don't even Avengers Campus where you're like, wow, yeah, Avengers Endgame already happened, all this other stuff. So maybe the movies are going to come back with Secret Wars and Doomsday, but if they don't, now it's like you kind of miss the moment in certain ways. You don't want something to come out like, again, the Coco attraction. It's like, yeah, but this is like, it's 10 years after the movie came out. Is this still viable? And it is in this case. It's like, okay, this works.
Coco 2, I think this was some sort of synergy push.
Absolutely.
Like,
there's no way that
we need to reboot the interest in Coco.
Yeah.
We want to do a ride.
Mm-hmm.
We want to like release more things. We know which merch sells for it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do not necessarily a TV show, but like random shorts to kind of get people like.
And there's no way that people don't go in there and they're going to have a store that's selling Alebrije and everybody can go with their own Alabrije as
Yeah.
they leave.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way that doesn't happen.
They want to do like they want to get that machine moving again with Coco.
That's
and
Disney for you.
Yeah. And look, sequels sell.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that they're safe.
They do.
they sell.
Yeah. I mean, a little tangent, but I did go to see Elio, and I thought it was fine. I thought it was a fine film. I mean, Pixar doesn't develop movies that as an adult you can't go watch and be entertained. It doesn't dumb down the audience, and that's a good thing. That's Pixar, that's their development. But it also wasn't something that was infinitely special or that you hadn't necessarily seen before. And so I think that was the problem, is that it didn't follow the Pixar formula as much as I wish it did. And that's interesting, because most Pixar movies have a hook to them and they get you. And this was a movie that in the marketing you could feel didn't have that hook. And so I think that, as much as we want these original movies to come out and do well and succeed, even if the movie is good, but if it's not great, people aren't really going to drop $25 per person for their whole family to go watch the movie. Whereas Inside Out 2 is coming out. We're going to go watch that. And Inside Out 2 is also a good movie, which, great. Win-win.
I guess if you think about it, it's like the Toy Story. At first, it was just a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, they're moving. Oh, they got sold.
Yeah.
And then Bug's Life is like, oh, the grasshoppers are going to kill the ants. Wall-E is like, oh, the world is gone. Where are the humans? Cars was like, here are cars. And we're like, yeah, okay.
Let's go.
And then, Inside Out. Oh, what if we got into your brain? Soul, this guy's dead. You know what I mean? And Luca was even like, they're a fish.
They're a fish.
And then Turning Red, she's a panda.
Oh.
Elio, this guy who really wanted to get abducted, got abducted and represents the humans. And I think that's cool, but like,
it's cool.
What's even Onward? Oh, if you don't go save your dad's pants, everyone dies or something. You know what I mean? It was like there was a time limit and a quest/adventure, and someone's dead. Like,
they gave you a reason to see it. And I think they just didn't crack Elio in time. I do think that the ending of the movie is strong, and so that's why you leave the theater and you're like, oh, that was a good time.
I'm actually interested in Elio.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't have that like, oh, it was just kind of like goofy in the trailers.
Yeah, you're waiting for those ideas, those things where you're like, oh, they're doing that? Like, that's crazy. Like, it's not generic. It's exciting. And I mean, Elio isn't generic, 100% of the time, but it's like, it's an alien movie. Okay, I've seen E.T., I've seen this stuff. Like, I can figure this out. But yeah, we get kind of back to striking while the iron's hot. It's like, these are all relevant IP at the moment. And so they need to build them as soon as possible. Get them out there, get them into the marketplace, and have people excited to go there. You don't want to build something, 10 years after the movie came out, and that movie wasn't necessarily a huge success. It's like you have to kind of time this stuff right. And so they got to do that. And again, economic factors. You really want this stuff to be opening so it continues to drive interest in the theme parks. They continue to expand. I mean, Disney World, just this past week, they had the whole... I forget what the name is of the body that organizes Walt Disney World now. The tourism board or whatever it is. But they were like, oh yeah, we're expecting like by 2045, you'll have double the amount of tourists in Orlando. And that's why it's like you're seeing all the theme parks are also predicting this. They're all developing things.
Josh D'Amaro was at Epic Universe.
Yeah, he was.
Seemingly talking to someone who like works there. So
yeah, they were getting a full tour. I mean, they all talk to one another. They don't. It's not like they're like, yes, we talk about theme park wars. It's not like they're like, oh, you can't go over there. You can't go see what they're doing. You can't go have a conversation with it. No, they'll say, oh man, this is really cool what you developed. Oh,
yeah, there was
see us.
The joke I saw was Josh going, how'd you get those LEDs in the floor to work?
Yeah.
And then Universal was asking, how do you get cement to stop cracking?
There you go.
So
they all have their problems. They all have their little hiccups.
It's a rising tide raises all boats or ships. So, oh, hey, yeah, how's it going over here? Oh, we noticed this. It's like, okay, if we get more tourists to come to our park, we hope they spend more days at our park, but maybe they'll spend 10 days here and they'll go to your park and then they'll come shopping at Disney Springs. And then
rising tide.
And if we all bring in more money, we have more power over Florida and they give us more things. So
it's true.
Yeah, they're all friendly competitors. Universal, I don't think is as much of a direct competitor to Disney as one might think.
Yeah.
Like Disney's more in competition with other movie studios. Theme parks are like, they're so few and they're so big and it's like such a big moving machine. You're not going to be too reactionary. You can't.
Yeah, but they also can't let up. And that's the thing is if Epic Universe opens and Disney does nothing for 5 years, that's a problem. That's why you're seeing them do all this stuff right now. Again, Cars. I'm so surprised they haven't announced another Cars movie that's going to take place in their new land that they're developing. But maybe they're waiting and they'll strike again when the iron's hot with that. But just talking about the theme park division continues to be profitable, especially after the pandemic. It's basically 2/3 of what Disney's revenue is now themed entertainment and experiences.
And when we were talking about when Trammin started, they said that Disney's hurting right now because 33% of exact 1/3 of their revenue was theme parks. Yeah. And now it's 2/3. It's a majority of their revenue.
The cruise lines are just bringing it in. They
right.
keep building
those count
more,
as part of experiences. So yeah,
it's all part of it.
It's all like the movie business is like, They just kind of need to have it because it feeds the theme park business now. Yep.
Well, and even the movie division is basically planning of, well, we're going to have one sequel that's probably going to be a surefire hit, and then we'll make one original film to balance it out because it's like you can't take that many bets. And sometimes those original movies are going to be huge and sometimes they're going to be really bad. And so you see the film division floundering in certain ways. I feel like they still have a few, hits up their sleeve. They still have a few surefire bets. I mean, you think you got Avatar 3 coming out at the end of the year, Avatar Fire and Ash. It's like, that's going to make $1 billion no matter what. It's like people are just going to go say, okay, it's the new Avatar. Hey, guys, we got to go see that.
Me.
That's what the MCU used to be. And now the MCU isn't that way. People aren't going to the theater to go watch every Marvel movie anymore. They need you to tell them it's important. The problem is going to be when Avengers Doomsday comes out and people didn't watch Fantastic Four and they don't know the beginning of that story, or they didn't watch Thunderbolts, and now you're going to be like, wait, who are these characters again?
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, the theme parks are doing really well. They're really important to the company overall. And while the movie division continues to flounder, considering that Bob Iger's leaving at the end of 2026, right?
He keeps changing it. But
he keeps changing it, but he's officially going to be leaving as CEO. He's finally setting up his legacy again with Disneyland Abu Dhabi. He's literally doing the same thing he did before, and then trying to set up the movie franchise. It's like, okay, we're doing this, but the parks are the important part. So they've had Dana Waldron, who's in charge of the film division, as the other sort of CEO candidate besides Josh D'Amaro. But I think it's very clearly Josh D'Amaro is going to take the reins. I don't think that there's any way that they get an outside candidate at this point. I think that there was a moment there for a minute where they're like, maybe we really need the leadership shakeup. I don't think that's the case anymore. I do think that they hire somebody to be a partner to Josh D'Amaro on the film side.
So I was going to say that. They were thinking of EA's Andrew Wilson.
Yes.
So I think my thought in the beginning too was, why would Josh D'Amaro take over Disney? If the theme parks, like, he's a theme park guy.
Yeah.
What does he know about anything else? But now the theme parks are so important, they need the theme park person to do that.
Yeah.
And then they just need to get someone for, I'd say, but content.
Yeah.
And
they're developing all the movies, everything else. That's all being developed to push you back into the experiences, back into the theme parks, back into the games, back into Fortnite.
And that's where someone like Andrew Wilson comes in.
Yeah.
He knows how to keep people engaged in live services, which is like ongoing video games. And not just video games, virtual experiences, because those are huge. People go out. Like, some people don't go out. They're on their phone. So how do you catch that? Yeah. And how do you get them in a digital world that might, like, when the thing they're really into opens at a theme park, let's go. Maybe they get into this digital Fortnite thing, hang out with a bunch of villains, and then they hear about the villains world, and then their significant other, their family that wants them to go on a big vacation is like, hey, they got this new villains thing. Aren't you really into that?
Man, I got to go to the villains land because it's going to unlock this cool skin in Fortnite.
So even you'd be surprised. Like, people would do that. Galaxy's Edge got a lot of people to go to Disneyland. Yeah. It really did. A lot of Star Wars people, or even people who kind of like Star Wars, like, oh, I haven't been in a while. There's a few new things for me to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's so true, because it brings in outside people who are not necessarily theme park fans or have been coming every single week. It's like you need those outsiders. The Magic Keys can't hold down the whole fort by themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But again, yeah, I expect Josh tomorrow to be the CEO. Talking about Disneyland as a park, because the only new thing on the horizon is the Walt Disney animatronic show, which I'm very excited about. I already have my reservation for July 17th. Gotta go support Walt Disney as he walks around.
I have
on
a
stage.
reservation for that Friday.
Oh.
I wonder how it'll be, honestly.
Yeah. Post that.
Post influencer.
Yeah. So yeah, they're definitely going to do previews for it. July 17th is the official opening, and then July 18th is the D23 ticketed event, which I don't know if the tickets went on sale or not, but it was basically like $75. You got access to the theme park, and they were going to throw in special viewing areas for the nighttime spectaculars. You could choose the fireworks or World of Color. Actually, not a bad deal.
Well, yeah, but you get access way later, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because you're coming in the afternoon, and then you're coming in for
those went on sale, I think, 2 days ago.
Oh, there you go.
We brought up in this last episode.
Good.
So yeah, people know. Is it worth? Well, it's the big thing is the panel.
It's the panel. That's why. So people were like, "Oh man, it's going to be exclusive. Are they moving the opening?" It's like, no, you're going to be there with the Imagineers who have developed this and have been working on it for 5 years.
So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
The rest of Disneyland sort of speculating. So if we're capping off California Adventure, we're building it out within the perimeter. You look over at Disneyland, what needs to be fixed? And we all know it's Tomorrowland. It's the only thing that's really left in Disneyland that really needs to be worked on. It is still a dream away, regardless of how excited I got to see in the concept art, and there was no people mover platform or observatron, and Tomorrowland seemed to be more enclosed. I was like, oh, that would be cool. I'd like to see that. And it's like, no, it's just vague concept art. Don't get too excited.
Yeah, and I think they just shrunk things in the back just to kind of get it out. Like,
that's not the focus. Don't look at that.
It was like an orientation thing.
Very
like this is
much so.
this is the side of Disney you're looking at.
There's
That's
Space
kind of
Mountain, but it's not. Yeah, we're not doing anything crazy there. But do keep your eye out for Fantastic Four, First Steps, and Tron Ares. Those are the two bets. I feel like every year or so, there's like a few bets on, hey, what could Tomorrowland be? And here's the movie coming out this year. So like previously it was Lightyear, and that was a huge failure at the box office. But they already had developed plans for Tomorrowland to redevelop part of it after the movie Lightyear. So they spent money and time on that.
There's the one shot, dude. The one shot of an orb, which is clearly Innoventions, and the triangular launch area, which is clearly Space Mountain.
Yep.
Like it's a shot in the film with both of them together on screen. And
so easy.
In the movie theater, I literally said, oh no. Like I had that. Oh, I liked that movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. So that didn't happen. I don't know if it'll be Fantastic Four. It's just maybe they just have to see if Fantastic Four becomes a franchise.
Yeah.
Almost like you were saying, not separate from Marvel, but like a little bit off to the side. Tron Ares, as much as I'd want it to be, I don't even think it's going to be a hit.
The two things about that movie, regardless of the story or anything else, which I do think there's an interesting hook. They had a trailer that they didn't release that was at a convention. I saw somebody had filmed it, and it had a really good hook with the whole like AI, frontier thing. And it's like, oh no, they're coming to us. And I was like, oh, this is great. I think that there is a good story to tell there. I think the number one thing is going to be the music, 9 Inch Nails. I think that's going to be the huge thing that sells this movie, is going to be the score, that you're going for that moment. And I just watched.
I don't know if that gets regular people in, though.
I don't know, but it's what sold electronica. It worked.
Daft Punk is way bigger than 9 Inch Nails.
I agree, but 9 Inch Nails, they go by Atticus Ross. They've done a lot of really good movie scores where people went to go watch that tennis movie. Challengers, and that's the score, and it's like people all remembered the score from Challengers.
Shout out to Kimmy's friend Michelle, who was, I just found out, obsessed with Tron. So I brought up like, oh, they could bring back electronica because Hollywoodland's dying anyway.
Yeah.
But she's also obsessed with Challengers.
Oh man.
And there's this
crossover,
Venn diagram of 9 Inch Nails right now.
Well, and I remember I went to go. I just went with my brother to go watch F1. And that's a Hans Zimmer score, but like you're in the movie theater watching a movie made for IMAX. It was IMAX the whole time. And that moment that score came in, and it was just this heartbeat just punching the whole time through the action. I was like, yeah, this is why you go to the movie theater. If I'm going to go for a good time and you have an amazing score, I'm going to come out with a smile on my face. That was really good.
Yeah.
So I hope that Tron can deliver in that aspect. I don't know if that, I mean, Tron Legacy was a minor success, but it was not the success they were hoping for. Part of the reason that they were already like moving in the direction of buying Star Wars at the time. I mean, they were just looking for that franchise that was going to appeal to a male audience.
I think Tomorrowland will remain Tomorrowland.
Yes.
And I think it would be wise for them to, I saw someone talking about the way Epic Universe works.
Mm-hmm.
You can tie in a main area with a theme and just have the different IP and have those things be very immersive.
Yes.
Where now it's just like Mario is here, Frankenstein is here and his monster.
Yeah.
And Harry Potter's here and they have their own little areas. So you can just have a Tron thing and a Fantastic Four thing.
Yeah.
And they redo the look at Tomorrowland a little bit and you just keep it all.
Yeah.
I don't think they will do an IP themed land.
No.
To replace another one based off of either one of these things, because it's
one of Walt's original concepts too.
Yeah,
Walt at Disneyland, and that's the thing that it's like you really can't. But Disneyland's Tomorrowland needs to be redeveloped to feel classic, to feel cohesive, to feel as good to hang out in as Adventureland does, where you feel like I'm just in this world. Doesn't have to be that IP. It's like Tomorrowland doesn't need to be the IP. But those experiences can be IP that ties back into Tomorrowland.
Yeah, I think immersive cues are where it's at, as opposed to
the queue is going to tell the story. It's going to get you in the world and then get you back into Tomorrowland. When it comes to certain ideas and what I would love to see, I've mentioned it before, but it's like I would love to see Tron take over Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. There's so many easy ways to do it, and considering the one is getting redeveloped over in Florida, and yes, it's staying Buzz, and that's the original version of that attraction. I would love to see ours turn into something unique.
I think
use the chassis, change it up.
I'm a huge Tron fan, and I understand many people are not fans of Tron at all. But I think Tron Blaster Ride would be huge.
Oh, man.
I think it would be an instant hit just because it's so cool and fun. And you don't need that to be Toy Story over there. We have Midway Mania.
Yeah.
And it's weird. They keep going back and forth between differentiating parks and not differentiating parks. But I think they're back to differentiating because they have competition now. So it's like, oh, we're going to do a Cars Land. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
Galaxy's Edge, I think maybe they just wanted it to be the same because it's easier to do both.
And it was the cost. It was the fact that each one was going to be $1 billion.
Yeah. And it's just, we're building the same thing with the same dimensions.
Yeah.
The land is going to be graded the same, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I think they'll just be like, we can differentiate. We have that Tron right over there, and we have this one here. We didn't have to spend that much. And now, like,
you can't, as much as people want it, you can't fit Tron Light Cycle Run in Tomorrowland. You just can't. It's too big. That show building is massive. If you did, it would take over too much capacity in the land.
Autopia.
Plus, Autopia, which is Autopia, for all of its stink and everything else, it's the original opening day attraction. You can't get rid of it. You can't do any. You can remodel it, and they already said they're committed to making it electric, and that can mean a lot of new things too. They can light up the ride vehicles. They can do a lot of cool stuff.
Fantastic Four Autopia wouldn't be too bad.
Fantastic car? Heck yeah.
And it's a Honda. Who cares?
Light overlay.
Yeah. It could be, you just remodel the ugly things on the track and you're good.
And they know people want the people mover back. They want something up there on the beam. I personally actually think that Fantastic Four should utilize that space. That you make pods that are kind of like mini Fantastic cars, and you go up on the rail, and you have a show building. You do the whole thing. I would love a Fantastic Four attraction that starts almost like the Carousel of Progress. Like, let's rotate in almost like that, and then something happens, and now we have to go out and have whatever mission. Or just experience Tomorrowland. Make it feel like an old World's Fair experience. But you have something that is, a little action heavy, the little blasters ride with Tron. You do something that's a little bit more vintage Tomorrowland, has that feeling, has that vibe, and you put it in there. That's for the whole family, and you make a pavilion with experiences. It would work.
Yeah, and a Tron blasters thing, the whole thing can be contrived, and no one will care.
No one will care.
It doesn't have to make any sense.
Yeah.
It can literally just be one of the games.
Yep.
And the World of Tron. Oh, there's a Ares over there. You didn't even have to put him in there.
You don't even have to. It can be tied into anything. It's just got to be the cool lights.
Yeah.
It's got to be the blasters and everything
And you
else.
can paint everything black and just put some LEDs and it'll look awesome.
How cool it would be though that you get like your own identity disc and you change the color of it. And you go and sit in the ride vehicle and your blaster changes to that color.
Oh, they'll sell it.
Yeah,
They'll sell it. It won't.
That's all you have to do is think about what can sell. What's going to work.
It's just like the Spider-Man things.
Yeah, which ironically enough, aren't selling.
It's because the ride isn't fun enough.
Yeah.
You're not
sadly
doing anything.
Yeah. Anyway, there's Tomorrowland. I did want to shout out the other blank spaces on the map that you could kind of look at in terms of needing some assistance would be probably the Fantasyland Theater. But I really think that Fantasyland is going to stay as is and just continue to receive updates over time, because anything that is a fantasy IP, such as Frozen or Tangled or anything, will be saved for either a third gate or one of those expansions on the parking lot. The only other thing to mention is the Matterhorn, which continues to seem like it's crumbling and falling apart. Every time they have to do a refurbishment, it looks like they just keep peeling back the facade to rebuild it because it's just all falling apart. Yeah, I worry about that ride. I really do.
Yeah, it's just nothing can really go in its place.
No, nothing
There's
can. Yeah.
regulations and all that. I think there's a whole thing on to make that new, it has to be 2 or 3 times the size.
Yeah. You'd have to pretty much demolish half the Autopia to fit that in.
Yeah. So
we'll see. I will not be surprised if 10, 15, 20 years down the line, that just happens from a structural integrity standpoint, that eventually a Matterhorn replacement will happen.
I could see them running some Ship of Theseus numbers with OSHA and just going like plan out like percentages of the ride that they're going to fix that count as a refurb, not like a reconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them fixing it.
Yeah.
Because it's high capacity. It takes up a lot of people in line. It's beloved. Though they can make some stupid movie about it if they want. They don't really have to. It's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
It's iconic. You can't.
But like they don't want to tear everything else down and figure it out. So I think they will figure it out. I think they're thinking about it, not out of any sort of like purity angle, just like, oh, we don't want to get rid of this thing.
No.
So
nothing else can replace its higher capacity.
Let's try to make this work.
They're going to make it work as long as they possibly can. So don't worry about that. And sort of our last thing is with Disneyland Forward, this again was a 30-year plan. So when we look at the Disneyland Resort, and if they can get all this stuff done by 2030, there's a new parking structure, new transportation hub, Avatar, Coco, and Avengers. That's all built out. What's next? And sure, I would love to see Tomorrowland at some point in the future. But putting that aside, we've rezoned these parking lots. We have rezoned the Lilo parking lot that's next to the Disneyland Hotel, which if you really push that out and you also demolish, again, the Rainforest Cafe building and the ESPN zone, that gives you even more space to develop that entryway into that experience. And then you have the Simba parking lot, which is also a massive piece of real estate. How do you utilize those? And that concept art kind of showed this spilling over of space. And they're really looking to redevelop the resort and reconfigure it and redefine it as an overall experience, that you don't think of these things as California Adventure and Disneyland anymore. You just think of it as the Disneyland Resort. That, you'll walk in and then there will be an entryway into a group of attractions and experiences, but it's not tied into the theme parks themselves. That it's not associated with the dynamic of it being an Adventureland or Fantasyland expansion or a California expansion, whatever that means. It's its own central thing. You can see an example of this in something like Fantasy Springs that's out in Tokyo, a grouping of attractions around an idea, and yet it feels completely separate from the theme park that it's attached to. And I don't even think that this is going to be attached to Disneyland or California Adventure. I think that these expansions, when eventually built out over time, and that's the thing, is you can build them one at a time over the course of 5 years, they're going to be these groupings of experiences that are going to be their own defined thing. That, whether it is Fantasy Springs at the Disneyland Resort, it will not be tied into the theme park. In ticketing wise, yes, you can tie it into it. You had to buy a ticket to Disneyland in order to get the ticket for this. It was an add-on, but it's one of those things that is going to be separately ticketed, separately costed, and that will allow you to control that capacity. So instead of maybe buying a lightning lane for all 3 rides, maybe you're buying one for this one large expansion.
We'll see. We'll definitely see what they decide, like a big third gate.
Yeah.
little things.
Well, and that's
or even like,
yeah.
I still think the DCA expansion thing is on the table because of where the hotels are.
Yeah.
You can still kind of tie it in through walkways and whatnot and little back areas. Like, but this is like, it's so far beyond.
Yeah, and I think it's even further down the line than we think it is. I mean, when they redeveloped Downtown Disney on that side, towards Symbolot, that made me feel like Symbolot's staying around for another decade or more.
Yeah. As soon as we got that entrance,
yeah.
like, oh, Avatar's not going there.
No.
Because you and I had that conversation,
Yeah.
I think. And yeah, and then they threw Earl of Sandwich there.
Yeah.
And they're keeping the ESPN building. So it's like
the only way that you even tie in, and that made me feel too that the Lilo lot would be the first expansion, the one towards Mickey and Friends. And you can tie that into Disneyland, but it's so far that it's kind of weird that you would make that bridge across that would kind of have to weave its way backstage and then go over by where Tiana's is. That's also like such a narrow pathway, like, and you can't widen it. Like, you can't widen it in between those permanent structures. So it's like, this doesn't make sense to me versus I'm going to sell you this as an experience, as this land that's a separate ticketed thing that I can see Disney doing again in like 10, 15 years. But all of this pushes me to believe that the Toy Story parking lot, and they build this as a new type of entertainment experience, coming to the resort, like its own resort district that would be outside of Disneyland. I think this whole thing has been a smokescreen for the third gate. And if you really look at it, I'm going to pull this up, but like, if you look at it on Google Earth and you're like trying to check out the acreage, if you just consider you cut off from California Adventure, the Grand Californian Hotel, you're looking at California Adventure in its entire area, including its backstage. And I was generous. I included all the different show buildings and background area. It's about 77 acres. And if you look over at the Toy Story lot, you're looking at 74 acres.
Yeah, I think we talked about it here. It is almost exactly the same size.
Yeah.
Even like you just take a square, because California Adventure is kind of a square.
Yeah.
It's just right there. And on top of that, the crumbling garden walk is all that's in between.
Goodness.
And it's gone bankrupt so many times. I think Disney's just waiting.
They're waiting.
They don't need it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not going to be redeveloped.
No.
Because OC Vibe, like you mentioned here, is huge. The Samuelis are all in. I'm sure they want the Angels.
Yeah.
So Henry and Susan Samueli own the Anaheim Ducks. They're redeveloping that whole area. They've been all in on Orange County and Anaheim.
Yeah.
We recently got a new Ducks logo, and they're like, no, we're staying orange. They trademarked Orange Country.
Yeah. That was cool.
They re-signed their lease to Honda Center and said we will not change the name from Anaheim Ducks for at least, like, they're not going to change it, but they're like, the lease is 10 years. We're not changing the name.
Yeah.
And then they're going to spend a bunch more on Honda Center, even though it's kind of staying the same.
Yeah. They're putting up this huge like glass facade with LEDs in it. It's crazy.
I think the Honda Center as an arena is really great because everything's pretty high quality in there. The seating experience and viewing experience is high quality.
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of these new stadiums. This is a hockey stadium, and the sightlines and everything are perfect for that, and they've committed to that. So that is going to be a huge district off of like the stadium lofts too, right? Are nearby. They've wanted to do that forever, and once Artie gives up the Angels, they'll fix that parking lot for the Angels.
They'll redevelop. I mean, eventually OC Vibe might spill out into the Angels Stadium.
I think they want it to.
They want it where it's like that bottom floor is still parking, but they can build on top of it. Yeah, it'll be very fascinating to see how that expands, how that grows. But that means that there's already a new entertainment district in Anaheim. What does Disney need to do that? And I was always thinking, I'm like, they were going to build this hotel over it. And I'm like, who wants to look out their window at like Disney Springs, like in Orlando? Who wants to look out their window and be like, shopping and dining district. This is why I spent $1,000 a night to stay here. It's like, that's not what's going to sell anymore. And even in that concept art, it was showing smaller parking structures surrounding it. You don't need those parking structures when you build that new massive one on the Pumbaa lot that's over, behind Harbor. You don't need that anymore. So it gives you enough space to build a full theme park. All parking will be done through that new parking lot that'll be over there. You'll come off from southbound. You can park in there. I will not be surprised again to see them purchase the Garden Walk eventually, redevelop it completely.
So the thing is,
when it goes bankrupt,
if you just third gate Toy Story,
yeah,
and I'm sure they'll account for expansions now, just like Universal has been doing, And if you take Garden Walk, you can, I think, enclose the whole area.
Yeah.
In a resort area. And I'm sure people will be angry about the streets and whatever, but I promise you it'll be fine. They can make Garden Walk connect to Downtown Disney. They can get their Disney Springs. I think they'll just call it Downtown Disney. I think Downtown Disney is an iconic name, and it doesn't have any negativity towards it.
No.
Maybe it did in Florida. Maybe they just wanted a new name there for fun. But I think we'll just have a large Downtown Disney to actually be a district and just connect 3 theme parks. And will security connect? That would be cool. We'll see. But I think it's more possible than ever. And like you were saying with the smokescreen thing, they're shoving as much as they can into the parks right now, going out into 2030. So we'll live.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, I think too that new parking sort of situation and new transportation hub, I would not be surprised to see a type of transportation appear there that will take you from there and take you down to this third gate. And as much as people are like, people movers coming to Tomorrowland, I'm like, I think there's a better place for a continuously loading platform. I mean, for all I know, that could just be an elevated walkway with a continuous like conveyor belt. But still, it's the type of thing that I don't think they'll funnel everyone through Garden Walk and force you to walk that whole distance to a new third gate. I'm sure they're going to develop something that'll bypass it, especially if they don't end up buying it. It gives them that option that you don't have to. Here, we're just going to bypass it. Yeah, we're just going to go around. They did have as part of the proposal of Disneyland Forward, hey, we can do the Skyliner from Florida. I don't think that's happening, but they basically pitched we could do a form of transportation in Anaheim to connect these things because we're building so much and we're building out the resort into this larger district.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe get a contract to connect OC Vibe and stuff like that. Like, we'll do
streetcar.
Yeah, because the Ducks have really been working with Disney lately.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is
that's a huge partnership too.
I think they're just like they want to own Anaheim.
Yeah.
And like neither one of us can own the entirety of Anaheim. Yeah. So let's just work together and we'll both do well.
Yeah.
Right? And
everyone will profit.
They just the Ducks just drafted someone with the last name McQueen.
Oh yeah, I saw that. They had to meet Lightning McQueen. That was good.
Yeah, that was great. So good stuff coming. Do not look forward to the third gate. Look forward to everything else coming right now.
Yeah. Third gate, it's going to be like 20 years from now or something like that. Yeah.
20 years from now, Josh will hint at something on a stage somewhere.
I think they'll announce it in 2035 or something like that. Something crazy. I don't think this opens until 2040. And in Florida, they have a sort of permitted period of time for a fifth gate. They can't start building it until 2035, and it has to be open by 2045 or something like that. So they already have a fifth gate that they can cook over in Florida, but I do think that Disneyland Resort's going to get its third before that. Like they're going to spend that money before then.
Yeah, and I'm sure in Florida it'll just be animation based.
Yeah,
like all the stuff that they do. Like this is the fantasy area, maybe this is the sci-fi film area, this is the Pixar area. Like here's just all our movies.
Here's the movie park. Here's our version of Epic Universe.
And somehow they can easily connect it all. They all have the same weird faces. Although I did see someone say Pixar needs to stop with the weird peanut faces.
Yeah, I did see some of that. Yeah, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
Oh goodness, what is it? Kingdom Hearts, the theme park. That's what it's going to be. We're going to tie it all with keys, guys. Yeah. Everybody's going to be running around with key blades.
Oh yeah, we're already doing that.
Yeah,
for 30, 60,
70th.
How much do the 70th keys cost?
Are
they $60?
Yeah, I think they're $60 or something.
That's rough.
Oh, it's bad. No, I hate those things. I think this is terrible, but still.
Got anything else for us, Freddie?
No, I think that's it. I think we've covered an update on Disneyland Forward and where we stand today, which is moving forward. And yes, we'll get another update at Destination D. That's going to be out in Florida. So we'll just keep our eye out for that.
Yeah. That is our Big Thunder topic of the week.
If this is your final stop,
thanks for chatting with us today. If not, it's time for We Have It So Good.
Oh boy.
Where we and the Tram fam talk about what makes our Disney trip so special. Send us your highlight of the trip, something new you tried, or a food review on trammin.com/ask. We're recording a bit early, so we're going to talk about our last trip. We did a boys to men trip on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, Wednesday.
So the plan was ride Pirates Without Lightning Lane, which wasn't actually gone yet. But then, you, Kevin, John, Harris, and I met up around like 4:35-ish, I don't know, to a pretty empty resort. We walked in to Disneyland, and you go, oh, the caboose is on. Let's go. So we all ran up to the train platform. You're like, is the caboose open? They said, yes, sir. So we hopped in the caboose of, who was it? Number 2?
Yeah, number 2. I don't know. I should know this, but I don't.
But we hopped in, and it was nice. It was a little warm. It's got some windows in there, very old school. But you open a door, walk in, sit down, stay as long as you like. We did a Grand Circle tour.
Yes, we did.
So that was really fun. We had it to ourselves for a Grand Circle tour.
Yep.
And what's funny, though, is right before the dinos, we see some maintenance workers with a fuel truck. And we wave at them.
So good.
And then they just go, hot box. And then like 3 seconds after that, we go into the diorama area. And it is hot.
No air flowing.
Yeah, he knew. So that was fun. It was fun seeing people like point at us from the platform.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
like, whoa, they're in there.
Oh, how do you do that?
Yeah, Jeff face. The Jeff pointing face. And yeah, so it was a nice little time. And then if you're already on the train,
yeah,
you may as well go to New Orleans Square.
Yeah.
So some people hopped on with us.
Just for that last
journey. And then we hopped off in New Orleans, got the passion fruit mint julep, which was really good.
Love it.
The pineapple beignets are fine. The regular ones would have been way more satisfying in that moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had those in the bar that's not a bar.
Yeah.
And
little Royal Street Veranda.
Yeah, and then we kind of walked on the Pirates, had a good little time there.
Yeah.
Then we met up with Sebastian at Palm Breeze Bar because we put our names in for Trader Sam's. So Palm Breeze, fully refreshed menu.
Yes.
So you got a Mai Tai, classic Mai Tai.
Yeah.
Perfectly made, I would say.
Shout out to Nate at the Palm Breeze Bar.
I got the new espresso martini. It's like a coconut martini. A little bit funky. It's got like a coconut. Is it a coconut demerara in there or something?
No.
There was a funky.
Something.
It had a funky demerara in there.
Yeah.
It was good. I don't know if I'd recommend that one completely.
They have a lot of new items on that menu.
Kevin got the matcha drink.
Oh, nice.
That was funky. Comes with a matcha Kit Kat, which was impressive.
That's cool.
But good little short time at Palm Breeze. As per usual, Trader Sam's took what, like 30 minutes?
Yeah, it was closer to 40, but about that. Yeah.
They quoted an hour and a half.
2 hours is what I got texted.
Oh, did they?
I got texted 2 hours.
And we were like, it tops out at 45 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
So within 45 minutes, we were back at Trader Sam's, sat outside, got a nice waiter.
Yeah.
Tried some of the new things. I had a poke bowl to try to get that taste of the island. Too much crab, fake crab, and seaweed salad. Mm-hmm. I love seaweed, but I hate seaweed salad. And like 10 pieces of ahi, one of them fell on the ground. I almost picked it up, man. But I'm like, I'm at a theme park. It's not the same. Yeah. If it was on the table, maybe. That was fine. I got the passion fruit gin drink. I thought it was okay. I should have got the Temple of the Forbidden Rye.
Yeah, that's the one to get. Yeah.
But I'll do that. What'd you get?
I just got the zombie, and then I wasn't that hungry. I was I had food at home. So I just got the chicken finger, like, little plate there, which is super interesting. It's like, it's one of those things that there's a lot of people who are just like, I would like some chicken fingers.
So
please.
That's the thing, is it's a Tangaroa Terrace item.
Yeah.
And I think they're just like, oh, we just serve chicken tenders.
Yeah.
You got sweet potato fries?
Sweet potato fries, they're the best there. Honestly, I was just going to get a bowl of sweet potato fries. And when I saw it, it's like, oh, I can get this. And there's a little teriyaki sauce dip in it. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, Rain loves that combo. The regular fries, awesome though. And then we also did get the tempura green beans for the table.
Yes,
and those are great.
They're delicious.
It's a good portion.
Yeah.
And you don't feel as terrible as you do after the long beans because those were so salty. I really liked them, but they were salty.
Yeah.
So big help in a togarashi aioli, but good time.
Yeah.
A little time.
Yeah, good little jump.
And then I went Friday for a little date night with my wife. With Kimmy. And highlight, for some reason, Kimmy was like, I'm craving black tap. I'm like, okay. So I got I know I'm against truffle stuff because it's never actually truffle, but the ingredients seem the best. because there's like Gruyere cheese, whatever. I got the truffle burger. It was full of umami flavor, really good. I got some sweet potato fries subbed in. Kimmy got, I forgot which burger, but that was good, with a house salad. And then we got the fried pickles. She was craving fried pickles. She wasn't a pickle person until she tried these. Until she tried Carnation Cafe. So fried pickles, a subbed salad for $2, and a subbed fries for $2, and the 2 burgers. No drinks. 10% off. I think no tip. $65.
So bad.
Yeah. And then we got a $10 shave ice.
Ooh.
Monorailed in.
Yep.
Met up with you for a hot minute. Well, we were both on like broken down things.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Indiana Jones, broken down right in the load area is really fun.
Maybe your highlight though. Single rider Indy.
Yeah, Single Rider Indy is back. They are running it, I believe, as a test. So it's not official on the app yet. They give you a giant placard, the Single Rider, like little chit. Now it's a giant thing that you wear around your neck, a big lanyard. And that's to avoid people from going in and taking them off and then going up the stairs. And now as a single rider, they're pacing people out. So every pre-show, when they have the groupings, it's one single rider. So it prevents you from being able to meet up. They're doing their best to really slow that down. It does mean that it's a longer single rider.
So then do you just merge?
So yeah, you just merge, and then they tell you don't take the elevator anymore. They tell you to take the left side. And then every time you're in the left side and they're calling, hey, single rider, now you got to squeeze down that ramp with other people. It's terrible.
Interesting.
I mean, it works, and I understand why they're doing it, but as a guest, you're like, I just want to get in here, please.
The elevator confused a lot of people. I still tell people who are in the accessible thing, like, oh, click the thing, you're fine, just go.
But really, their whole thing is to prevent large parties from going into a single rider line. That's what, if you look at Space Mountain.
It's rough.
When they have the schools coming in for grad nights, you'd have like 20 students all get in line for the single rider. And you're just like,
Kimmy and I keep skipping it. Once it's outside, it's bad because it's bad inside.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But now it's back. It's good if it's not a crowded day in there, and if most passes are blocked, it's great.
It's rough though because we were just gonna say hi to you, then get in line because it's 25-minute wait, and then it broke down. So it's fine. It's fine.
I was just waiting my time for the art bus.
Yeah,
the unreliable art bus.
Well, and the unreliable Indy made you miss the unreliable bus.
Yeah,
but you got a cookie out of it.
I did get a cookie, which was delicious.
Give me one mobile ordered cookies. So highlight was running a 15-minute Mickey and Minnie, it closing down before we got in, and then reopening before we left Toontown.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Yeah. And was there? Oh, my actual highlight though. I've been using the monorail as a form of transportation a lot lately, and it's been cool.
Nice.
It's because it's not, if one's not broken down or whatever, it's pretty efficient. The walk is not too bad now because of how everything is. So it's like, oh, let's just pop in this way. We already ate here. We already went through security here. It's a nice form of transportation.
It is. It works out. And especially if you do end up hitting one of the attractions at Tomorrowland, it's super convenient.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to struggle up Main Street to get there.
Yeah. So things have been cool.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah. Any other highlights or?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah, I think it looks like it's
pizza time.
Time for one last bite. Freddie, what is beyond the yellow line for you? What is one thing you're looking forward to doing at the theme parks or in general?
Oh my goodness. I'm really looking forward to Tiki Room reopening. I kind of waited. I was going to get a Dole Whip or something. I'm like, no, I'm going to get a Dole Whip when the Tiki Room reopens and go in there and just have
I think I mentioned that last time. But I don't want a mobile order. I want to walk up, get it, and walk in. Like
the
good old days.
Yeah, that whole classic experience. Really looking forward to that. Otherwise, food-wise, over at Ballast Point, we're going to start doing bi-weekly new like food items. So it's like every 2 weeks there's going to be some new special. I believe it's a pork chop during these 2 weeks. So keep your eye on Ballast Point Anaheim's social media. We also dropped a bunch of new beers there, which is really cool. The Imperial Sculpin, which I was really actually surprised by. I'm not a huge beer guy. I never really was. And then I started working at Ballast Point. Now there you go. You got to try the new stuff. So definitely drop on by and get a splash if you can, and try the new food items. It's really good.
Yeah. Unless I make some other trips, it's because July 4th is coming up. Not worth. That's probably actually going to be crazy because it's on a Friday and all that. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to. I grabbed the Sunday reservation for the Sunday after. I won't be there by 11, but I'm hoping I get there before like that lunch rush. I want to see what it's like. I want to see what it's like.
Give it a try.
Yeah. So I think I would arrive by noon. I know getting there past 12:30 is bad.
Yeah.
But if you get there by noon, maybe. We'll see. I'm testing it out. I've heard 11 is great on a Sunday.
11's great.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how early I wake up.
Yeah, you just don't want to deal with the traffic into the parking structure and everything else. It's just not fun.
Yeah, we've done that before, and it's been rough. But I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to trying to get maybe not that Sunday, but like a brunch at Lamplight, brunch at Strongwater. Hey, the second they don't schedule you on, the second they let you work during the week, and you got a Saturday free, let me know, and we're there.
Excellent.
We're there. Probably. The only thing that would prevent us is prior plans.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm in.
Excellent.
I'm in. Got my designated driver.
Hey, there you go.
For life.
Woohoo.
All right. So yeah, that's what we got. So, Freddie, you'll probably be back soon. So tell them that in some sort of way.
You can keep your eye on social media. You can follow me on Instagram at Helmsman Freddy. Same thing on Twitter, other platforms, Blue Sky. Looking forward to coming back on. We're going to do a few little specials coming up in the future. Looking forward to talking more about the Disneyland Resort as we get into the 70th anniversary. Again, July 17th is coming up. Can't wait to meet up and actually go experience Walt Disney and see what that's like. It's gonna be a fun freak show. Very excited about that.
Oh, and we're thinking of doing a late July meetup with Disneylanders cross Trammin. The Tramminverse collides. Let us know who's gonna be in town when. We haven't decided yet. I'm gonna check blackouts. I know there's like entire passes blocked out.
Yeah, that's true.
So that is what it is. But I'll look for like if there's one that has one day open. Like we'll try that. It'll be a fun little. It's not gonna be a like a St. Trammin's Day type deal, but it'll be like, oh, let's come hang out. Summer sipping.
We
had a episode called that, so maybe that's what we'll call it: the Trammin Summer Sipping Hangout.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you all for listening. I'll see you next week. Rain should see you next week as well. See you real soon. Bye.
Thanks for traveling with us today. And we hope you have a happy and memorable visit to the Disneyland Resort. Please lower your head, watch your step, and exit to the driver's right-hand side only.